Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. The Shizzy and Joggle beat. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah, Nicky's. Yeah, OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, yeah, send it to the deck. Yeah, sell it through the spec. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We have another Tokeo Blitz. This is day 5 of the Blitz so far. Actually, I think we started last Thursday, but it's been 2 days all week. It's been absolutely amazing, crazy week. But we talked to some of the most amazing builders so far, and it's going to continue. We got Monday and Tuesday of next week before it ends. So just this, really tap in right now. I mean, Bitcoin sideways, like I said, every single day it's headline driven. We're waiting for that next headline. So we're just kind of sitting sideways. Bitcoin sitting at 103, 800, 900. Actually a little volatile right now. It's actually moving around a little bit more than I expected. So I wonder if something is going on in the Bitcoin world. So we're going to get into that way later. But first we're going to get into some meme stuff. So meme coins have been this cycle's bread and butter, right? The meme coins starting in about 2023 with the ordinals, the BRC20s, right? And then kind of getting into the pump fun. So meme coins have always kind of been this lagger, this like leading indicator of the markets. I mean, if you follow Farcoin, I mean, the market just kind of follow Farcoin. So it's pretty nuts. So it's really showing a lot of different things though, that, people want to have fun. And that's what the show's all about today. But let's get the show started. I'm bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Iago B. What's up, buddy?
What's up? I had to do a double
What's
take
going
there.
on, man? No worries. How you feeling today? We're sitting at 103,000, so it's not terrible, right? But I'm tired of being under 105, man. I want to be over that 105.
Yeah, I think everybody's ready for that next explosion, that next leg up, right? Maybe some of the news with Coinbase has kind of put a damper on the positive energy with pricing, stuff like that. But don't worry, guys. Look, we came from like 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, where we were kind of hovering in the 80s to 90, and then we had another jump crossing back over the big number of 100K. So we're doing fine. And if you zoom out and look at the weekly chart, I mean, Bitcoin is looking great, right? So just zoom out whenever you get a little anxious and have your PTSD coming back. But yeah, I mean, look, the Bitcoin Blitz, you know, with the focus on meme coins, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the intro, especially with the Bitcoin ecosystem, because you know we're trying to get fungible tokens, the ecosystem of fungible tokens going again, and we're having to use different approaches with computation, with scaling solutions and stuff like that. So memes have to be like a strength in terms of building community, and that's why I think the Bitcoin ecosystem is perfect for memes. And we already see that with, you know, $1 Billion Cat, with Dog, with like newer projects like PepOdins as well, which we'll have on the show, and also platforms that are focusing on their resources to launching these memes. You know, there are runes that are launching using scaling solutions, and we'll get into that later as well.
Yeah, 100%. I have a question for you though. So we've seen BRC20s go insane, right? To the point where Binance had to list already in Sats, right? Do you think we get that here with runes? Do you think runes can kind of maybe touch the momentum the BRC20s had in 2023?
Absolutely. And the reason why is because of the infrastructure that's being built around it, right? I mean, you're seeing multiple different techniques, approaches, tech stacks. You have ICP, you have Cardano, you have Near coming up as well. And then you even have the EVM side, right? With what Base is, FunkyBit has done a little bit with Base, but they're also going to be working on Arch Network, which is an SVM. So there's so many different tech stack approaches to it. And so it's obvious that these builders are building around runes. And so what will eventually happen is these centralized exchanges, they won't be able to ignore it, because there's going to be so much activity in different areas and stuff. But it's the broader Bitcoin ecosystem that is building infrastructure out for runes. So I think runes are going to thrive. I think they're going to be, you know, the main show, you know, out of all the fungibles. But, you know, there's some other stuff that's coming up, like Alkanes, which will have their own meme type coins as well. But from an infrastructure standpoint and who's in the lead, it's definitely clear as day that runes has that lead.
Yeah, 100%, man. And, you know, our guest of honor today, leading the show, is the guys from Tokeo. You know, they added, you know, the rune swap through Sats Terminal. So right now, if you guys go over to and download a Tokeo wallet, you guys can actually swap runes right in the wallet. And that's the kind of infrastructure that you're talking about. You're talking about, like, you don't have that with BRC20s as of right now, but you do have that with runes and these wallets and these aggregators. So yeah, you're 100% right. I think you nailed that for sure. But let's bring up the man of the hour here. Let's bring up Chaz from Tokeo Wallet. Chaz, welcome to OnChain Revolution for the 5th time this week. You guys, man.
Good day. How's it going? How are you doing, guys?
Doing well. Trying to get that meme energy going for this stream here. But, you know, you guys started on Cardano, and you have made a big splash here in the Bitcoin ecosystem, especially with this educational campaign, the Bitcoin Blitz. But, you know, Cardano has their meme culture as well. You know, you can't deny SNEC is a big meme community and token over there. But what was your impression when you came over here and you started to see these communities like Dog and Billy and, you know, some newer ones possibly popping up like PepOdins as well? What was your impression with the meme culture on Bitcoin?
So, bro, I'm a Dog day oneer. You know, so I got my share of the pie. So I have been following things. I'm not gonna lie there. I wouldn't say I was the earliest, but I've been in Billy for a while as well. And that's, you know, on a personal level, because I think that with the kind of community that's there on Bitcoin, right? And I put a post up about this from my personal account earlier today, where there is a bustling community, right? And sure, there are pockets, like you've got people who are just focused on X or just on Y or just on Z, but there's a lot of degens, right? On ordinals, on runes, you know, you have people who are having fun, who've been there. We've seen the rush that came through with Odin as well. You know, there was a lot of hype there, some of the earlier memes as well. So I think it's great. And I think that at the fundamental level, no matter what chain you're on, the memes that make it out on top are the ones that can create that culture and community, right? It's almost like quick form IP building, things that would take like a year with an NFT project or an Ordinals project, like a long sort of thing. You can do that instantly because, you know, it's liquid, it's moving so fast. People are having those chats and having, you know, creating memes, creating GIFs, images, doing posts, kind of building hype. So it's a lot of fun, right? I'm excited to talk to everyone here today. Obviously, memes at the end of the day are what make things move and happen and bring kind of people across two blockchains like Bitcoin. Like, I think a lot of people came over and tried Bitcoin out for the first time because of memes, right? And what I mean by tried Bitcoin out is like Bitcoin as in runes. And they may have at the most invested in Bitcoin prior, but this gave them an incentive to come in and do that. What I would love to do on a personal level is that, you know, Tokeo has a really nice dog theme in the app. So you can actually have your dog sitting there in the app when you're using Tokeo. But to get a theme that includes like Billy and PepOdins and stuff like that, I would love to incorporate some of that stuff. Like, I think it'd be so much fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, we actually have the guys from PepOdins on, so maybe that could be a collaboration for sure that you guys can kind of talk about after the show. But you know, I want to get to one thing. You mentioned dogs. So the one like really generous thing that Tokyo's done throughout this entire Bitcoin Blitz is give away dog tokens, which everybody loves. So I do want to congratulate it is Hydro Sapien for winning yesterday's raffle for 13,000 dog go to the moon tokens, and we're giving them away again for this stream as well. So 13,000 dog go to the moon tokens. All you got to do is go to either the Apple App Store or Google Play, depending on if you have an iPhone or Android. Download the Tokeo Wallet app, take a screenshot of it, and post that image of the screenshot in this X Spaces, and you will have a chance to win. It's very simple, guys. Very easy. So congratulations to Hydro Sapien for yesterday's win. You're going to need to DM us at the OnChain Revolution X account, your Taproot address, and we'll get you added to that spreadsheet. But I do know that the guys from FunkyBit are on a pretty tight schedule. So I'm going to bring Laboom up from Cha-Ching, and then also at the same time, FunkyBit, because I know they got a really tight schedule here. But how you doing, Laboom?
Doing great, as always. Very excited about the space. What's up, Zushan? Hey, Shizzy, Yagobi. Yeah, let's get to it.
Awesome. So we brought up FunkyBit, and FunkyBit is a meme launchpad really for runes, and they've used the scaling solution, and they're building on Arch Network, which everybody's talking about. Cha-Ching's very familiar with them as well. But if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, FunkyBit, and what your approach is to the meme culture of Bitcoin, and why you came to Bitcoin to build.
Sure, guys. Appreciate the intro. I'm sure a lot of you guys were probably expecting Andrew. Laboom and Zushan, I had the privilege of meeting in Dubai at the Arch events at the Arch House. These guys probably know who I am. I'm Zan. I'm sort of cooking on the attention side.
How are you doing, brother? Back in Australia?
No, mate. I'm in Albania at the moment. In the on the coast of Albania. I spent some time. I had to do a week of recovery in the Albanian Alps. Had to get out of society for a few days. Dubai was a big week, so I'm sure you guys can relate. But yeah, did a little bit of mischief there. You know, you can't be in the meme game without having a lot of fun while you're out there. Business doesn't work unless you're building friendships and having a good time. So I think everyone can relate there. But I appreciate you guys having us on. Shizzy, Yagobi, thank you very much for taking the time to set this up, and Zushan for inviting us, mate. Much appreciated. Unfortunately, Andrew couldn't make it. He had some prior calls, but yeah, I'm very glad. I do enjoy being on the same call as some Aussies. Obviously, had a great time meeting the Tokyo team at some Arch events. And in regards to your question there as to why we decided to cook in this space, well, quite frankly, it's a little bit along the lines of the way you guys described Bitcoin assets, Bitcoin memes at the beginning, right? Like you've got, you know, you've got a community of people who have been invested heavily in an asset, building a cult for a very long period of time. They've had very little appreciation, very little traction that has been built from beyond their ecosystem, and yet they still turn up every single day. And that is priceless, because most people are only here when the price is pumping. When the price is dead, they're gone. But in Bitcoin, everyone in Bitcoin memes turns up day in, day out, regardless. Rain, hail, shine. Could be bearish as shit. They make fun of that. It's sort of like, I would argue that's a little bit like Australian. I'm obviously an Aussie. You can probably gather that like Shaz. And, it's a little bit like Australian culture. There's this level of sort of self-deprecacy that it doesn't destroy you. It just sort of, it's like you're making fun out of the hard times, right? And this essence has been something that's very hard to ignore, not to mention that you're building culture on the most trusted asset on the planet. So that gets very exciting. Now, obviously, you've got Arch Network, you've got Pantera leading around in there. Funky Bit team is obviously, the founder was a partner at Pantera, Andrew Lawrence. He's obviously very experienced in the TradFi game. He's got a very reputable track record. I was fortunate to join them earlier this year, they've got a very good team of advisors, they've got an in-house animations and art team. They've got some of the best players in the game building for them. Unfortunately, there is a big issue which we are interested in attacking head on, which is onboarding the people that are creating memes outside of Bitcoin. And that means outside of crypto as well. So we are very interested in, obviously there are a lot of great people building a lot of cool stuff in Bitcoin, right? But no one's really discovering this outside Bitcoin. So in Dubai, I'm sure anyone who's in Bitcoin assets, when you look at, for example, a lot of us attended the Bitcoin summit in Dubai, the vibes there, this will probably offend some people, but the reality is it's not getting enough attention. It just isn't. And for the potential, for the intelligence, for the level of the caliber of the individuals building in this space, it's just not capturing the attention that it deserves. So one of the greatest forms of adoption, or the greatest mediums for adoption, came from memes for people outside crypto. And we do believe strongly, otherwise we wouldn't have been building Funky Bit, that, memes on Bitcoin is going to be one of the greatest ways to be able to sort of lead that catalyst or create that catalyst for adoption of DeFi on Bitcoin, if you will. So memes are sort of like the attention catalyst, if you will, for Bitcoin DeFi. Obviously, guys like Laboom, Shaz, everyone will benefit from Bitcoin DeFi. Memes happen to be the greatest way of capturing that attention. So that was a little bit about why we decided to push on this angle. We do believe that there's going to be a lot more to come in this space, and that's why we're here. We're here for the long haul. May take a little bit of time, but we're certainly not going anywhere. The space has been sort of confronted with a lot of different challenges. There's been a lot of as we've sort of seen over the last little period, there's been a lot of infighting within the Bitcoin asset space. But regardless of all of this, there's this foundation that's been laid, right? And no one leaves. Everyone is, this is probably got the strongest foundation of any sort of niche corner of crypto. So it's only a matter of time for us, and you're building culture on the most trusted asset in the space. So we're very much committed to seeing where this goes. We obviously have very strong partnerships with the bro guys. Are they on the call as well? Or PepOdins is also, we've had very good chats. I was fortunately, I was able to meet Snoop in not Dubai, but in Paris. We had an event, Funky Bit hosts an event there, caught up with Snoop a bunch of times. I've had a few calls on the Ordinals show and various other events. But yeah, there's a lot of good people building here, and we want to support that as best as we can. So yeah, I appreciate you guys having us on. I'm keen to hear what the rest of the guys are cooking.
Yeah, I think the Bro Bear guys are possibly going to be showing up a little bit later, but we do have Snoop that's going to be coming on next. But one approach that you guys took in other teams have taken this approach with is kind of scaling, but also having the main fungible assets created on Bitcoin layer 1. So you're able to scale with your protocol, do more computational things, and just have a little bit more fun than what you can do on layer 1. Do you find that as an approach that's going to be popular and continually grow, or what experience have you guys come across by using this approach?
We certainly hope that it will. I think the biggest issue that we're finding is obviously not an issue, but a challenge, is less of a tech issue and more of a awareness issue, right? For memes on Bitcoin. So, you have a catalyst for an event, something trends, you get a new meta, for example, and you see memes launch on Bitcoin and you see memes launch on Sol and ETH and Sui or whatever. The biggest challenge for adoption for us is more so an awareness thing, less of a tech thing. Obviously, we've worked to solve this with being able to, make Bitcoin memes accessible with USDC, Bitcoin, and looking to move in the future to being able to purchase them with embedded wallets potentially through your email, Coinbase wallet, whatever it is, Phantom, Sol, and that's obviously once again native as you just mentioned. But we find that the biggest challenge at the moment that needs to be addressed in this space is onboarding either non-crypto natives to Bitcoin assets directly, or being able to sort of tap the market that is currently very disinterested in Bitcoin assets, like a lot of investors, a lot of hardcore meme traders from Sol and ETH. They have very little faith in Bitcoin assets. They see that Bitcoin assets, Bitcoin DeFi is just like a pointless pursuit, that there is, there's very little volume there and this is the biggest challenge. And we look to address this. Obviously, Andrew had a lot of foresight when he came up with this idea. He's obviously left Wall Street to build a Bitcoin memecoin launchpad, Perpstex, whatever else on Arch. A lot of good people. The Arch guys are fantastic. They're cooking very, very hard. They're innovating extremely well. There are a lot of brilliant minds building on top of within their ecosystem. And I think for us, the big thing is, for us, the most important thing that's going to contribute towards adoption is going to be able to onboard less of the tech, and it's more of capturing attention, right? It's the cultural thing, right? At this point, Bitcoin already has trust, but we don't see it being so much of the tech can be resolved, but it's like people lag, right? You see, people have a stigma right now. They think Bitcoin is slow. They think slow block speed, block times, whatever. They're reluctant to take the risk of switching cost from Sol and ETH memes to coming to Bitcoin because they know there's not as much volumes, there's not as much liquidity, there's not as much interest, not as much attention. So that is the challenge for us that we're working to address, and we're going to be doing that in various different ways. And they'll be coming out shortly. I've been informed not to give too much away because we don't mind the idea of surprising the market a little bit, but we are certainly cooking on that side, and we do think that the best catalyst for onboarding people to Bitcoin could perhaps be the people outside of crypto completely that have very big influence, and building relationships with the people that are building big cults outside of crypto in general gets very exciting if they come directly to Bitcoin. Because again, you ask any of your friends, your family, your friends, which asset class do you trust the most, Bitcoin, Sol, or ETH? They're going to choose Bitcoin. So, it's that's sort of the predicament that we're in here is the people outside crypto trust Bitcoin. The people inside crypto think Bitcoin doesn't have the ability to facilitate DeFi. And we're looking to obviously change that. So is Arch. Pantera's betting on it. Zishan, Liboom, everyone is betting on it. You guys are obviously interested in it as well and see the potential. So yeah, that's our sort of thing. It's an attention challenge for us. Tech is fantastic, but everyone in this space is building good tech. You're not building in crypto unless you're proficient at building solid tech. The challenge here is how do you capture that attention? How do you sway the perception of the public who doesn't believe that Bitcoin has what it takes to facilitate, the next generation of meme traders? And we do believe that we have that. And now the game is converting those people's opinions to be able to trust that we have the ability to facilitate that. That's what Shaz is doing. That's what, there's a lot in that, but I'd be curious to hear what everyone else has as well. Like, I don't want to.
Well, I personally. Oh, sorry, Shizzy. Do you want to go?
No problem. No, go.
I was just saying, I personally love that, mate, and I think you've covered like a lot of the ethos as to why a lot of us build on Bitcoin, right? And why, from a long-term point of view, Bitcoin and the reason we're building on Bitcoin is kind of clear cut to us, and we understand that really well. I really like that point that you make of when you look at normies, they only know of Bitcoin, right? I was actually talking to someone yesterday, like a buddy of mine who's got nothing to do with crypto. And he's like, but bro, like Bitcoin is crypto, right? Crypto is Bitcoin. And that's often the perception, right? Exactly. And then us who are involved within Web3 obviously recognize that there are other cryptocurrencies, and we see people on other chains who go, well, why would I build on Bitcoin when I could be doing it somewhere else or have anything to do with Bitcoin beside it being a means of, just currency, right? Essentially. So I really, really like that point, mate. I had a question for you though, just before we kind of continue. That's a little bit outside the realm of memes, because I know that Funky Bits obviously brought that element of fun in, but you guys are doing things that are broader than that. And you could argue that we could potentially have had you guys speaking on like half the spaces or streams that we've done, considering the things that you guys do and what you're building out. So tell us a little bit about the tech behind it, and also where you're kind of headed with Funky Bit and what's going on. I'd also love a bit more of an elaboration there from you.
Sure. Look, I'll be honest, I'm probably not the best guy for this, considering I'm the cult builder. So I'm the guy that's going to be focused predominantly on the attention side, right? And being a memes platform, there's, that was sort of, I guess, in this space. So from the tech side, obviously, we have obviously the Launchpad. We have a few other things cooking with Arch at the moment that we're looking to sort of help facilitate, where, people that come to Bitcoin, you want Bitcoin DeFi, you don't just want memes necessarily, and memes have a stigma as well. But as I mentioned before, in terms of feature related updates, we do at the moment, there's been had a lot of calls with a lot of the projects, a lot of the advisors for various projects, a lot of people within the space that have a lot of reach, and looking to, obviously, initially from the tech side, we're looking to optimize UI UX to make it as seamless as possible for everyone. Our goal here, just like we touched on before, is one thing I was going to actually add just previously is, where you mentioned, people outside crypto, they look at Bitcoin and they say, Bitcoin is crypto, right? Like there's no real differentiation between the two. They think Bitcoin is crypto. And right now there are a lot more people outside crypto than there are in crypto, right? So that means that this presents an opportunity. If everyone's trying to capitalize on the current people participating in this market. But if you zoom out and you look at people outside crypto, there's a massive market there that remains untapped. They have no stigmas. They have no misconceptions. They are looking at this from a perspective of Bitcoin we trust, we don't know anything about the rest, right? So being able to onboard this is like the holy grail for anyone on the attention side. I can only really speak from any personal experience and any sort of, my edge is I would not be in a position to be able to sort of articulate in depth on the tech side of what we're building at Funky Bit without, sort of missing the layers that you need to delve into from your side, Shaz. But what I can say is that, the people from our side, our number one priority right now, obviously, okay, memes are not a game for tech-obsessed individuals. Memes are a game for retail. They're a game for attention, right? They're a way of tokenizing community, cults, and attention and eyeballs. And that is the greatest way to be able to onboard people to Bitcoin DeFi, because once you start to print with Bitcoin memes, then you've got capital. And that capital you can now preserve. You look for ways to be able to preserve it and grow it in a way of, that is more sustainable. For example, you could be looking for, institutional capital management strategies, for example. You might be approaching someone like Laboom from Chiching, and you might be looking for ways to be able to leverage, access extra yield or loans or whatever it may be. You might be looking to stake within a wallet, for example, like Tokeo. You might be looking to preserve your capital in many different ways. It becomes a wealth management game once you start to be able to basically accrue some wealth. But for most people, when they're coming into crypto, they don't have a lot of capital, and they're able to sort of build their foundation by having some big wins. The biggest problem is that on most chains like Sol, ETH, everyone round trips hundreds of thousands of dollars. They might start with small amounts, they make a fortune, they lose it all, and they end up in this cycle of degeneracy. So with us, we have a way of capturing and onboarding a new generation of users to crypto directly coming through Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is the most trusted. So if you can bring people in and build the best meme culture on Bitcoin versus Sol and ETH, something that everyone trusts and understands, then you've basically got, you've tapped the holy grail. You've basically, everyone else in crypto is approaching this, this small market of 10 to 20 to 30,000 people that actively trade crypto. And in Bitcoin, we start approaching everyone else in the world that is interested in basically, earning a side hustle, making some money outside their current game. They're tired of the stock market. They're tired of mutual funds. They're tired of whatever it may be, investing in a 401k, or in Australia, you have like a super fund or a pension, whatever it is. And they want other ways. There's a lot of young guys that don't know how to get into crypto. And we are at the moment, I think for Bitcoin memes, this presents a very good opportunity. That's one of the angles that we're looking at. And when you talk about tech, I think it's cultural tech as well that really appeals to us, right? Tech is great, but it's boring. For most people that don't understand the game, they don't know the terminology. They don't understand anything. And you lose them. And I think that's possibly one of the biggest things about Bitcoin. Everyone's been focused on the tech, but no one's focused on the culture. And that's why Solana and ETH is winning. And that's why they continue to win, because we're too busy focused on the tech and we're not focusing on how we can actually compete on the cultural side, because that's where the majority of people have an IQ of an octopus, right? So if we want to be able to compete with that, we need to be able to actually keep their attention, not only capture it. We can have some degenerate shit for a couple of days, but we need to be able to keep that attention. And the way we do that is by giving them some returns on their investments and by keeping their attention with, a level of camaraderie that only people who have been part of the Bitcoin ecosystem for a long period of time can understand.
Real quick, I completely disagree with that. I mean, so with Bitcoin, we need tech first. We need things to be built here. There's nothing built on Bitcoin. You can't build a community around nothing.
Years, it's been tech first, right?
What's that?
It's been tech first for a damn long time, right?
No, it's been nothing. There's been no building happening on Bitcoin whatsoever.
I think he's talking about the broader. He's talking about the broader crypto space.
I'm talking about how we capture culture on Bitcoin, because obviously
but there's no tech. We need the tech being built on Bitcoin first. We need structure. We need foundation
100%.
Before we can get any type of community. You can't use this shit right now. So right now we actually need the tech first, and then the community comes later. So I just want to put that out there. There's nothing here yet. We're on the ground floor of something special, but you need the tech first.
That's right. But the challenge is focusing all the time on the tech and talking about the tech when people can't understand the tech and they can't understand what you're building with the tech. It has very little effect, no matter how good the tech is. You look at Solana and ETH. My point is, they don't constantly.
There's no tech. There's nothing here yet.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people building cool stuff, right? For example, like there's not a lot of engagement happening for anyone in the space. That's the reality. Like there's a lot of resources and capital and time being allocated towards building stuff. Like not everyone here is building a cult. Not everyone's building attention. People are building tech products, right? Like it's just tech packaged in a sort of entertaining way. That's what meme coins are.
Well, I think a perfect example of what you're talking about is FunkyBit itself. If you look at FunkyBit's platform right now, it has all the tech that EVM and Solana can provide in terms of speed and stuff like that. But obviously, they haven't rolled out their full guerrilla marketing approach. But not everybody has just ran over there because there's Bitcoin runes are over there. So the part that I agree with FunkyBit on here is that Bitcoin, when it comes to an actual meme community culture, it is top. It is top because they actually stay over here and they end up holding their bags but they build camaraderie, and when they're down they just laugh and they're not happy, but they're just Billy to Billy, and exactly. Look at the dog community. I mean, for how strong the dog community is on X, it should be $2 billion market cap. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what FunkyBit is trying to get to. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's exactly right. The reality is you can go and trade memes instantly. You don't have any of the slow speeds. You can trade them as fast as you can. If you've got an Xverse wallet and a MetaMask, you can connect. You can trade with USDC on FunkyBit, right? And you can buy memes. But the reality is most people aren't interested in trading Bitcoin memes because they've got a switching cost. And why would you bother trading a meme coin on a platform where there's very little liquidity and volumes when you've got to compete with Solana and Ethereum right now? And a lot of the people are focused on building where there is currently existing. There's culture. People don't care about the tech if the cultural exists on Solana and Ethereum and Sui and whatever else. Anyone who knows to Dubai or who went to Dubai to token knows that the talk of the town was Sui, for example, right? Or it was ETH, or it was something else. It wasn't Bitcoin. Bitcoin was probably the sleepiest. Bitcoin DeFi was, it didn't capture the attention that the rest of the space was garnering, right? That's the reality. Despite the fact that everyone's building there, that might be, that might be pissing some people off, but that's the reality. I spoke to so many VCs and investors that made bags, and they would love to invest in Bitcoin assets, but they still see Bitcoin itself as a wealth preservative measure. They don't see it as anything else. It's a store of value. And they still don't even believe, even after mentioning, people like Pantera allocating significant amounts of capital towards this, they're still not interested. They still see it as being too slow. It's not going to work. And that's the thing, is no matter how much you do with the tech, you've still got this psychological barrier to overcome where people have a stigma against the space. And the only way to do that is
we need Arch to come, right? So I think that's the thing. We don't have that fast-paced environment that's going to have. We need the tech first. So like the tech's not even here yet. Bitcoin is still an infant when it comes to building on it, right? The Bitcoin. So there's two different Bitcoins. There's Bitcoin the coin that's been around since forever, right? Like 2008, right? So and then you have Bitcoin the chain that really hasn't had any building on it. I mean, you can say back in 2013, but the real building didn't really start until January 2023. Bitcoin is younger than Sui. Like Bitcoin is one of the newest chains. I mean, and it's completely different than anything we've ever seen before, because besides Cardano, we really haven't seen a UTXO environment succeed. And Cardano is just getting its feet wet here. So I completely disagree. The tech is coming, especially with Arch coming in June.
Well, the tech is coming, man. The tech's coming 100%. What I'm saying is we need to focus on building the cult, because when the tech turns up, it takes 6 to 12 months to build the cult. And then what happens is you've got tech built and there's no cult, there's no attention. The people that build tech don't understand how to build the cult. And there are far more people building tech here than there are building attention and capturing it.
No, I think this is a great actual philosophical conversation. And in the end, I have the answer that beats both of your answers here, and everybody goes to the word liquidity. Is living liquidity. Literally. And that's what's lacking. And tech will, if the UI is good enough, the culture that Funky Bit is talking about is there, then the liquidity will come, and that's when people will participate every day in, day out. But I absolutely agree that we need to grab people outside of crypto Twitter, because right now crypto Twitter is the one that people are trying to go after, the small pool that are already they're brainwashed into Solana, they're brainwashed into kind of EVM or whatever only. And so we have a big opportunity with Bitcoin memes being the main theme. And so, I didn't mean to take over that conversation, but I think it all kind of works together there. And we do have a comment here from one of the community members, X from X, and it says, Funky Bit, win mobile access to your platform. So do you have an answer for that? Because I know you just mentioned UI is something you guys are focused on right now.
Yeah, so I'm probably not privy to give too much away on this, but there is something cooking there. May or may not be a mobile app, but it will be potentially web through the mobile. So we'll be able to there'll be more updates on that coming soon. But it's certainly.
I know a product that has a pretty slick mobile app that can probably cater to the question that X is asking regarding Funky Bit. Maybe we should talk, mate.
Shaz just integrating Tokyo there.
Yeah.
Very conversation. Yeah, there. Boom.
That's what we do. So let's link up either in Vegas or afterwards. We'll have some of the team there as well, Zen. So let's make that happen, mate.
Done, brother. Keen as.
Awesome.
Real quick, so Funky Bit right now is on base, right? But you guys are gearing up for a July, go to Arch in July, right?
Yeah, as soon as Arch is on mainnet. So as soon as that happens, so we had to push back. Ideally, we would have liked to launch with them, but we obviously, as soon as they're on, we're 100% committed to Arch.
Love that. All right. Well, I know you're on a time crunch. You're probably late to your next meeting here, but any final words to the audience about Funky Bit? Maybe something to get excited about.
100%. All the memes will come to Bitcoin. There's a few that understand this, but that's just a matter of time. There are more people who trust Bitcoin than any other asset, and there are more people who will be affected by memes than any other asset in the space. So in a matter of time, all the memes will come to Bitcoin. That's the game. It's that simple. And you'll see more of that. But that's the plan at this point. If someone's going to launch a meme, someone wants to tokenize their community, someone wants to tokenize their attention, their follower base, their community, they will launch a meme on Bitcoin. And that's the reality. So in the matter of time, it's only a matter of building trust. And when you have the most trusted asset, it's only a matter of getting the word out. And that's easier than, when you're building good tech, it's just a matter of a conversation.
Absolutely. And that 2 trillion plus liquidity needs a place to be able to, exactly be living and all that stuff. So thank you so much, Funky Bit, for joining us this morning and really opening up to the broader Bitcoin and crypto community, because there's people from other environments here as well. And we appreciate you and look forward to the future of Funky Bit and Bitcoin memes.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for having us on. Appreciate you very much.
Yep.
Cheers,
Take it
guys.
easy.
Bye. Bye.
See you, mate.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I like when Shizzy gets kind of like into these deep debates back and forth. It brings a different twist to things. But what'd you guys think? Let's start with Laboom. What'd you think about Funky Bit?
Oh, Funky Bit's great. I mean, I've known the team since a while. They're like really experienced folks and really know what they're doing in the space, right? And I think as far as the debate is concerned, I think it has to be like a combination of both, man. Like I think the best projects that are going to be there like are the ones where the tech and the community both like move in sync. Probably you can have like the cleanest tech, cleanest UI, slickest mint site, but if the community doesn't feel it, it won't stick. And on the other side, if you have a hyped community without the tech, that eventually fizzles down. We've seen it all happen on Bitcoin. So I think it's when both of these things align is when the tech amplifies the culture and the culture pushes the tech forward. That kind of a flywheel is something that is required in the space. And as far as Funky Bit is concerned, yeah, I mean, I'm a power user, man, myself. I love the site. I love how slick it is. And they've really given a thought to the UI and UX as well. So if you guys, anyone in the audience hasn't tried it out, you guys should definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, I've used it myself, and it is really slick. But Shaz, to you on your opinion.
No, I agree. I've also used Funky Bit, and I think it's solid. There's no doubt that they know what they're doing and what they're kind of after. They've always obviously got the right relationships and good product and all of that, right? I think, and I agree with Laboom that it's always a combination, right? You can't have one or the other. But I enjoyed in all of the Bitcoin Blitz, we haven't seen Shizzy with the Blitz on, so I liked a bit of that. But I got to say, look, with Zan, like Zan's awesome, right? But he is also like I believe he runs like the social media side of things at Funky Bit, so the community building and bringing people on board. That's what he cooks. So I think from his point of view, that's definitely where he's at with regards to Funky Bit. And then on the same side, like with Shizzy, right? Like Cardano, I know, for example, Cardano UTXO chain, very, very difficult to build on. There is a lot more product on Cardano at the moment compared to Bitcoin, right? So and then if you compare, because of the difficulty, Cardano to say something like Solana, it's a huge gap, right? So from that point of view, 100%, right? Shizzy's completely correct in saying that there's almost nothing that's been built yet because it's still so young. So I loved it. It's
that's what makes it more exciting, right? Like you've got so much of a canvas, and it's all white, right?
Yeah,
so you can build a lot of very meaningful things.
For me, it's like I'm okay if you're gonna come here and describe your project, but you're gonna come here and just give me fluff the whole time. I understand community guy and stuff like that, and I do get it, but they're technically not even building on Bitcoin, right? And then you're gonna tell me that they're on base and they're gonna go to Arch, right? So I just felt like the Bitcoin layer 1 builders, the guys who are actually building on layer 1, I felt like they were a little bit disrespected in that because I think we don't have the tech yet, right? So I was coming from that standpoint, and I love what Arch is doing. I think, but Arch still, about 2 months out, so the tech for Arch isn't even there yet. You know what I mean? So I just felt like, and I get it, community guy, but a lot of fluff, a lot of buzzwords in there, and I just wanted to make sure that layer 1 builders are respected in that nature.
So you felt like you had to defend kind of Bitcoin in a sense because you felt like he was coming after Bitcoin itself?
Well, not coming at it, but they're basically saying that communities need to be built first before the tech, and I completely disagree with that. You can't have a community without tech. Every community right now is built around tech. So you're seeing a lot of the meme coins, right? The ones that are on Solana, they're built around, that Solana, the SVM, right? They're built around Pump Fund. Dog built around runes. The runes tech came first, right? And then so you know what I mean? So it's like we need the tech. We need Arch to come live before you can start building communities. If you're going to build communities on Funky Bit right now, you're building base communities, right? And that was just kind of my own, like, that's just how I took that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a strong point there. We did see Odin kind of be able to merge a little bit of both before and that could no. Actually, they have crazy stats recently. If you saw how
Really?
much Bitcoin,
No, I haven't been over there in a while.
it's actually been Odin.fund has been a success for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
But speaking of Odin and Funky Bit, I do like this conversation. It's not your typical, just everybody having a great morning conversation and waking people up here. Let's bring up the founder of PepOdins. I'm telling you, this guy is an OG in the Bitcoin ecosystem. He's been here since the early days of ordinals, building, and he actually is on both platforms that I just mentioned, Funky Bit and Odin, and he's done tons of stuff on layer 1. So let's welcome Snoop Toshi to the stage. What's up, Snoop? How are you doing?
Hey, very well. Thank you. Great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Of course,
What's up, bud? It's been a while.
What'd you think
long,
about that?
no.
What'd you think about that philosophical debate between Shizzy and Funky Bit to kick things off?
It's a good one, and thank you on behalf of Bitcoin Shizzy. You're it's a fair point, and like ultimately, what Bitcoin needs more than anything are some wins. We could have all the tech in the world or no tech at all, but if people see some wins that they could get, then they're going to come flocking in. So I am a big believer in tech, and I'm a big believer in the right tech, the killer app that we've probably spoken about a few times, being able to bring new audiences in. Currently, we are in this unfortunate situation where it's a very cannibalistic space at the moment, where we're all trying to sort of PvP each other to end up with a bit of Bitcoin. So what we need is new and interesting tech that is going to draw in larger and larger communities from other chains or from, even outside, maybe from Web2. So there cannot be enough building. There will never be enough building on layer 1, on layer 2, on layer 3 or 4 or 5. Doesn't really matter where you want to go. We don't know what that killer app is that ultimately is going to drive Bitcoin into more people's wallets for it not just being a store of value. And I'm a big believer in, you look at a technology and you say, what is the problem this technology is solving? And if you're simply trying to create a solution for a problem that doesn't exist, then it's probably short-lived. But if you can see firsthand, a real life problem that Bitcoin can solve, short of being a store of value, then that's something that needs to be focused on. And so when I look at how much of an industry revolves around Web3, around IPFS, around this whole space, and then we look at Bitcoin, immutability, recursion, parent-child, all the wonderful things that are real solutions, albeit to problems people may not even know. So I think a big part of Bitcoin layer 1 development is education. I'm sure a lot of people know about ordinals, but they may think it's too expensive to put stuff on. People probably don't realize, it'd be more expensive to put a CryptoPunk on ETH than it would be an ordinal on Bitcoin. So really there are ways to look at things. And I think the messaging that people don't necessarily understand is the thing that could put them off even wanting to explore it. So with that, removing friction, having mobile apps, having exposure to newer audiences, all of these things are the sorts of movements that will get this into the larger public eye. But at the end of the day, it's all fundamentally backed by Bitcoin, and that's what no other digital asset, NFT, chain, shitcoin, anything you want to look at has ever had before. And that is where it sets everything apart and why it does have that longevity that we haven't seen on other chains. So absolutely, I agree with everyone. I can be as agnostic as I can.
Yeah, and the thing about Snoop is that he's literally built on every layer. Like, Bitcoin layer 1 back in the day, and still probably doing something on there. And then, these scaling solutions as well. But let's get into PepOdins, because that's the big, project that you've been working on. And it's not just a meme. I mean, there's a ton of utility into it. Could you kind of dive into PepOdins, give an intro to the audience? We got 260 people watching and listening in of what PepOdins is.
Awesome, yeah. So PepOdins is our gift to the rune space. So we realized with the evolution of platforms like Funky Bit and Odin Fun, being able to trade runes lightning fast, comes with a bunch of wonderful areas, but a bunch of scary areas as well. And what I mean by that was the safety rails that you have become all too accustomed with on platforms like Sol. Where you'll have rug detectors, you will have early runners, you'll have all of these different tools that are sort of scanning on-chain data to be able to give you a decent insight and hopefully a better insight than everyone else. Now, when you have these new platforms, those tools simply don't exist. So we realize what we should be doing is putting together tools to at least give some people some insight into the purchases that they're making. And it's by no means foolproof, but what we did manage to put together were things like rug detectors, the means for people to check what tokens other people may have launched previously, if things are bundled, like a whole bunch of different features that we already know are useful on other chains that simply didn't exist on Runes or on OdinFun or FunkyBit. And we took it upon ourselves to simply start building this out. But we realized that's only half the effort. Keeping people safe is one thing, but keeping them engaged is another. And so we started to release some very cool AI video tech for a way for communities to be able to meme. And of course, with the iconic Pepe, we felt that was a nice memeable content for people to be able to run with. So the project is sort of twofold. It's very much tech-based, but one half of it is tools and tech to keep people safe. And we collabed with so many different collections. Huge love to FunkyBit as well for bringing us onto their platform so quickly, and the support for everything that they've done. And really wonderful space to be able to build in. Any tech space that's early is normally ripe for development, and so you can have a lot of fun if you like to build quickly if you're in one of these very early platforms. So yeah, effectively PepOdins is Discord bots in a bunch of Web3 communities, Discords, Telegram bots within the PepOdins Telegram, websites, PepOdins.com. You can check out all these tools and information, and just a whole bunch of different stuff. So I could talk about it forever, in all honesty, but really it was our give back to help keep people a little bit safer than they currently were able to before these tools existed.
Here's a more and I love this, but I had a more philosophical kind of since we're in that space now, and that's the vibe that we're feeling with this stream today. So Snoop, I had a question for you, right? So you guys have obviously built a really cool meme project, but then you do a bunch of these other things. Where does the fine line come between a meme and not a meme, right? Because the IP itself is still memeable, right? But then you're building out product which quote unquote goes against the ethos of the meme project, right? When people go like Doge is a meme, well, is it really? Sure, the communities come in and built on top of it, but it's definitely no longer a meme. So you're doing all these cool, important things, right? You're creating exciting products as a part of the brand. Do you think that it is? Personally, I think that it's still perfectly okay to call you a meme, right? Because your IP is memeable, right? But there are people who I always seem to have conversations with, oh, that's not a meme anymore. You know, they start crying on X. And you're kind of like, dude, like if they want to be a meme, let them be a meme. Like, what's your problem? So
Great question. Great question.
So where do you sit, Snoop, and what's kind of your thinking with regards to PepOdins and where you fit in that, spectrum of memeability?
Yeah, I mean, I would go as far as saying I think every project founder should be going to every extent that they are within best practices are capable of to protect their community. And so, yes, we are a meme coin, but that being said, we love our community and we don't want them to get rugged. So we're going to give them the tools and the tech that they can't get anywhere else to stay safe. And we won't just give them to our community, we gave them to countless other members of the community because the space needed it. We haven't token gated it. You can still have it whether you own PepOdins or not. And so we've done everything we can to provide tools, not just for our community, but for the entire space. And I think that's really what sets us apart, is we provided tools and tech for people, for anyone. And this isn't some utility just for the one token. And I would go as far as saying most meme coins probably don't do enough for their communities. They may launch a meme and use the fact that it's a meme coin as an excuse to not do anything more, rather than using it as an opportunity to build and foster a community. So to me, that's, I think, probably lazy founders just getting away with saying, oh, it's cool, we don't have to do anything because it's a meme coin, as opposed to proactive founders saying, yeah, it's a meme coin, and now we're going to keep the memes going and give them the tools to make the memes and encourage them to do that. I think that's two different ways of looking at it.
Yeah, look, and then Shiba Inu was a perfect example of like a big meme that started off on ETH and did amazing numbers, and then they tried to find, what else can we create, and they create SHIB Swap and stuff like that, and so I think everybody on stage would consider Shiba Inu still a meme. So I think it depends. Are you still pushing that kind of the fun part of it, you know, that joking kind of part of it, as well as bringing actual products to the table. That's just my 2 cents. 2 sats, I should say.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that response, because even at Tokyo, what we do is we've taken the Ninja, and there are so many, like, I don't even know. There's like a few million hits on the GIFs that have been made of the Ninja, like doing all sorts of funny stuff on X, and people love to like use it as a character, right? So we've taken a standard product and then added a memeability element to it. So definitely the right space for you guys, Snoop. Like I like it, mate, and I like what you guys are doing. So I actually have to dive in a bit deeper after this to learn a bit more.
Yep. Snoop, I know you're on a time constraint as well. So I'm gonna just kind of send you out with this last, chance of maybe going into something really exciting that you guys have coming up for your community, the Bitcoin broader community as well. But the stage is yours.
Thank you. So we're going to be at Bitcoin Vegas. We'll be representing all sorts of. We're going to be everywhere over the course of inscribing BTC 25, the pizza event. So there's just keep your eyes peeled. I have a couple of announcements lined up, but we won't probably spoil them. I wanted to make the announcement by today, but it's not quite ready. The game is nearing a playable state, at least for an early testing, which is another fun thing that we wanted to push out to the community. But I'd say they're the biggest things. So definitely keep your eyes peeled if you're in Vegas. We will be out there, and reach out if you're going to be there.
Awesome. And look, guys, this team with PepOdins, it's a stacked team. We know the kind of the developer side as well, and the marketing side, and they're OGs in our space. So head over to PepOdins.com, I believe, right? Isn't it PepOdins.com? And you can check out you can check out the tools, and there's an imaging tool as well. And just, I promise, once you go there, you're gonna stay on that site for a long time. But it's gonna be very resourceful. Thank you so much, Snoop, for joining us. We look forward to future updates and about PepOdins and everything you guys are building.
Thank you all for having me, and really awesome conversation.
Yep.
Thanks,
Take it
Snoop.
easy.
Thanks, mate.
All right, we got one more guest. Go ahead.
Real quick, I gotta chat something. So, is it possible potentially a community room with the Ninja? Like, I just popped in my head, but that would be pretty freaking cool if we get the Ninja as a room.
Uh-oh.
Are we getting some
get it
alpha
together.
shots? Yeah.
Well, there is a nice percentage of toke that's never been minted anywhere. Which has been kept aside. And what could that mean? I don't know. But the toker, as we call him. So he's called the toker, right?
Gotcha.
And
great name.
that's a pretty memeable thing in itself, right? So mate, the toker, Tokyo was conceptualized in Byron Bay in Australia, where magic is. And if you know anything about Byron Bay, it's a bit of a hub for all the tokers around in Australia. So the toker found his bearings and railings over there. But that's just a bit of a story and some lore that can turn into something bigger and nicer in the future. So
yeah, man.
exciting stuff. We didn't think we were going to have this next guest, but it looked like he was able to free up some time for us. And I'll give you a little hint here. A Billy. But let's welcome Bongo up on stage. Our guy Bongo, what is up, my man?
What up, DM guys? How's everyone doing?
Doing well, man. Love the Billy glasses, first of all.
Hey, thank you.
There you go. Billy to the Billy, right? Always.
Billy to the Billy.
Yep. We know that you're not the founder of $1 Billion Cat Meme, but you are, if not, the biggest leader of the community there. Could you kind of go into detail of what you know of what Billy is, how it started, and maybe what it can be in the future as a community and Memecoin?
Yeah. So a little bit about the history and lore. When runes first came out, or a few days before, me and Acits, the founder of Hashlinks in the community, we were super active on the timeline, on Twitter. We were paying attention to everything. The market was very frosty, and we had in mind the idea of looking for opportunities when rune stores come out, and that's pretty much what happened. Me and many others in different communities, there were like a bunch of memes coming out at the same time. We found Billy like what, maybe 2-3 days into like runes existing, and we thought it was a awesome meme. I mean, the Bitcoin B, a tad, it's like the perfect brand for Bitcoin. It's the perfect IP to have on Bitcoin as a meme coin. We just thought it was hilarious, a great meme, easy to use. There's no limit to what you can do with Billy. It's a cool pair of glasses. Anyone can have it. Adults can like it and have fun with it. Kids love it too. You go anywhere around the world and like people love it. So we adopted the meme early on, and that's pretty much it. Since then, we've been working with them, collaborating. At Passions, we created the first custom Billy glasses for an ordinals collection, and we've seen most projects adopt the Billy glasses across different blockchains, Solana, ETH, and especially on BTC. So it's been a great journey. We've been able to represent Billy across the world in many different countries, and it's been fun. As far as what can it be in the future, I think it can be $1 billion market cap meme coin to begin with, and a Billy is just the floor. From there, we can hit multiple Billys and eventually be one of the top names, because I think we have everything we need from the community perspective, the IP, the team behind. It's just a perfect combination of things.
Awesome. Look, I actually thought let's thank you for that, Bongo. I actually thought let's switch it up, guys. I mean, Bongo turned up. I know that he was really busy, couldn't make it. So instead of giving Dog away today, why not give some Billy away instead?
Ooh, let's do it.
So let's make that. If you've downloaded Tokeo, taken a screenshot and shared it, we're going to give an equivalent amount of Billy away instead, since, we've got the rep here. So we make it fun and nice that way. Switch things up a little bit just for this one, make it a bit special.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Am I allowed to
I love
answer?
that. And it's not that I'm busy. I'm in the run. If you've been paying attention to the timeline and what's happening lately, they're looking for me. I'm probably going to jail or whatever. It's just a joke, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I hope the audience can sense that sarcasm in there, but it's
You need to put the disclaimer.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But,
My name is Jonathan, by the way. That's my name.
yeah, but like for me, I like the IP really sticks out to me with Billy, and that's what really drew me into Billy. And I compare it a lot of times to what's possible that we've seen with Pudgy Penguins, right? I think Luca Nets did a really good job with Pudgy after he kind of took that project under his wing. And I think Billy has an even bigger opportunity because of the Bitcoin B and the community and stuff. Is that something that you and the community, the Billy community, see as well? Like, down the line, I know you guys have merch already. We see it at all the conferences. Could you see Billy being this kind of global IP, like where products are in stores and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that it won't come from me. I have a lot of respect from Luca Nets, and I think he's the greatest founder we have in the NFT side of things, and what he's been able to do with Pudgy is amazing. I have the toys in my home, and whenever I need to explain NFTs to a normie, that's the example I use. But I agree with you that the potential is there. For me, it's a meme coin, and people can do with it what they want. If someone wants to run with it, and make it into a store or make a comic with it, they are free to do so. Maybe the actual team eventually might want to get involved in some of that, but I think we're following the typical meme coin path that others community follow. I take Mod as a great example. They are an online community, and they're mostly, here in Web3, and they have different ways to moving their IP forward, moving their community forward, and onboarding more people and getting more people into the meme. and it all happens in like different ways. So what represents and what Billy means right now might be different in a year from now. It always changes and it moves with the market, and there's always like a new wave, a new community with a different ethos, and it's a very fluid situation from my perspective. So yeah, I can see that. I would love to see Billy everywhere and like seeing it in a store, but I don't think it's my mission, my purpose, and I don't think it's the team's vision either. At least not at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need to continually build just the culture and community first and all that stuff before you can think about that. But
It's especially when you have like we are a fully decentralized meme, and I think people don't appreciate that enough. The thing with runes is that people were paying miners to get the runes, right? Like nobody was, holding 20% of the supply and just centralizing things and trying to lead and have it as a centralized project where an entity has control over majority of the tokens or a large percentage, and from there they get to build. And for most things, we rely in the community. The community has been huge in terms of donations, the biggest well. The production of the Billy glasses, we actually got together as a community. We had someone with the know-how on 3D printers. We bought a couple and we bought the material, and he has been printing and making them from Canada and shipping those over globally. And whenever we want to be represented in events, it's in many cases it's also a community thing. So it's a
yeah.
little different from that perspective. We didn't raise any money. We don't have plans to do so. So yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed that for sure. Like, I actually have a pair of Billy glasses myself. I put them on from time to time just because I love them. And I grabbed them in Nashville. I remember everybody was running for them too. I remember like it was like once you guys put them on the table, I ran over there, grabbed them, and they were like, "Can I have yours?" I was like, "No, those are mine." But that is true. I have seen the Billy community really kind of come together. The Billy and dog communities are the two that most do that, and it's definitely exciting. Look, my last question for you, and then we'll see if anybody else has any final questions for you. But is you are a skilled trader. We all know that you definitely have a great presence on crypto Twitter as well. What do you see for the future of Bitcoin meme coins from an honest, like pure perspective? Because you also dabble in Solana, you dabble in these other chains, but you're primarily over here. What do you see the future of the meme coin community and ecosystem being, let's say, 12 months from now?
I think the Bitcoin space is stuck at the moment. And I think everyone is racing or chasing BM on BTC. And until we get to that, I think we're just going to be stuck. We can catch a pump based on narrative, based on Twitter, based on attention. That has happened before. But I don't think until we get an OPCAT solution or, Alkanes get to develop AMAs or Arch bring an ecosystem with their solutions and we can trade on BTC feeling like it's on BTC L1 feeling like it's Solana, I think we're going to be stuck. I think we need to solve that. I think the good thing is that we have a bunch of different projects with different angles and strategies working on different solutions, and surely one or a couple of them will win and figure that out. And I think when that happens, we have a bright future ahead of us. I think we're thinking. One thing that I feel it's painful in the Bitcoin ecosystem is that we don't have a foundation at the end of the day. I have seen the power and all the things that, Solana is, and even blockchains like Avalanche and many others, Sui, for example, have been able to achieve through a foundation. But I think it's a double-edged sword. Everyone gets to do what they want. It's a genuine approach when we're building in BTC because nobody's paying you to do so. And it's truly for the believers and the people that think there's a future in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Those are great points. And, what I heard was until we get that home base, it's the home base that people are looking for, whether that's Arch, and then all the liquidity starts to form there, and then maybe some of these maxis or Bitcoin wells say, oh, okay, maybe I'll play a little bit over there. That's the strong foundation, and all these other builders can kind of plug in that's been building around as well, right? So I agree in that aspect for sure. Anybody else on the panel have a final question for Bongo before we let him go?
Bongo, let's use your magic, mate. Let's get a Billy theme into Tokyo. We've got a dog one already. Let's do a Billy one, mate. Let's make it happen.
Love it.
For sure, 100%.
All right, Bongo, I'm going to let you sign out with some final words to the audience.
Billy to a Billy.
Let's go.
Billy to a Billy.
Billy to a Billy. All right, Bongo, thank you so much for your time, sir. We will talk to you soon. Love the glasses. We will talk to you soon, sir. Bye.
Yeah.
We got him. We got him on. What'd you think?
Nice way to close it out. For sure. I think Bongo's amazing. I've been following him for a long time. He's been doing morning spaces with the guys with Eric and what was that? Tommy.
Yeah.
So it's been really awesome. We've heard him so many times. It was really cool to have him on the show for the first time. $1 Billion Cat, one of the top 3 runes, I think right now, and will continue to be that. Once we get an exchange listing, whether that's Kraken or Binance, I think you're really going to see a lot of these runes go, and Billy could be one of those that really extends that branch to onboard for sure.
Yeah. Laboom, any final words on today's educational Blitz segment?
I mean, I love these segments a lot. And especially like when it comes to meme coins, right? Like, because the beauty of meme coins is what it does is it brings culture, right? And when you talk about culture, you've got like folks who have like who come from different walks of life, all coming together for a single cause. And what I have realized is, like, at the end of the day, meme coins are not just like trends, like, right? They're like a mirror, and they reflect something like what captures attention, what unites communities, and even how value is created in real time, right? And when that kind of a thought process you bring on chain, like, and especially on Bitcoin, I think it becomes unstoppable, right? So I'm really excited about everything that is happening on Bitcoin, right? Because like people need to understand, like with Bitcoin Blitz as well, like every space and every podcast that we're doing, we've got builders from different protocols and different projects working on either a similar thing or a different similar thing in a different way, or different things in a similar way. And all of this at the end of the day is for Bitcoin, right? And like Shizzy also mentioned, we're on the ground floor, guys, and we're on the ground floor of something which can be taller than the Burj Khalifa, right? So yeah, I mean, everyone has to keep an eye on whatever is happening on Bitcoin.
Absolutely. Love that, Laboom. And that's straight from the lips of someone that's building in one of these scaled solutions and, has the experience of building on Bitcoin Layer 1 as well, right? And so, Shaz, would love for you to kind of close us out with this segment of Bitcoin Blitz.
Yeah, mate. I was just looking at the numbers with Udit today, and it's something like over 15,000 views and listens so far, if not even more, just through X. So it's already been so exciting. We're not even done yet, but we're kind of coming to the close, right? Early next week, we'll kind of wrap things up. But I'm having so much fun because, I'm in runes. Udit, actually, who's on our team, has been in Bitcoin from like day one. He's been on Ordinals, he's been on runes, and he's been dabbling quite a bit.
Is he on Bitcoin since day one, or is he on like Ordinals since day one? Because I mean,
oh, exactly, yeah. I mean, he's on Ordinals. He was in Ordinals very early. I got into runes super early, but not on Ordinals as much. So, but a lot of this side of things, right? It's very, very educational for me as well. I really like that perspective that Bongo gave, right? That we're going to see a catalyst come through from one of these products that is building out to enable quote unquote ease of access and development tooling and so on, and will result in a lot more product, which will then in turn, circling it back to where all of this conversation today started. I see the grin there, Shizzy. And then, bring that community back that might have gone away a little bit to like a Sui or a Solana or somewhere else. So I'm really pumped to kind of see how this plays out. And, we're positioned with it at Tokeo, and that's why we've come, because, at the end of the day, it all comes back to Bitcoin, whether that's in the form of runes, whether that's in the form of BRC20, or is it in the form of something like Arch. It all comes back here, baby. So I'm very excited. We will be giving away Billy for today's one. So you still have time if you watch a bit later. Download Tokeo. Take that screenshot and share it in the comments. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be like, let me see, around, yeah, I'll get the exact number, guys, but it's going to be equivalent to the 13K dog. So all you got to do is go to Apple App Store. If you have an iPhone or Android phone, go to Google Play, download the Tokeo wallet application, take a screenshot of that, put that image as a comment in this X stream, and we will put you into the raffle, right? And so we announce the winners at the start of every stream. It's a really simple process, guys. Go do it. Try to win some Billy. It's really simple, and you'll love the experience using the Tokeo wallet as well. And you can swap for runes directly on there as well. So look, Laboom and Shaz, it's been amazing. Bitcoin Blitz with the meme topic. We had, a Memecoin representative of one of the biggest. We had two Memecoin representatives and one platform of a launchpad for memes. It's just an exciting future for Bitcoin memes. And thank you both so much for joining us this morning. And I know it's evening for where you guys are, but we look forward to the next one next Monday.
Let's go.
Yeah,
absolutely. Keep watching, everyone. If you want to listen to Shizzy and Yagobi, they got some great alpha that they'll be dropping as they go on, about all the latest stuff that's going on in the Bitcoin world. Even if they're not, I'm saying they are. So stay tuned and keep watching.
I'm going to find something now, man. I got to look.
No pressure, guys. But from the Bitcoin Blitz side of things, we'll be back in the form of a space a few hours from now, talking to some of the voices of Bitcoin. So that should be pretty exciting. But thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. I'll see you in a few hours. And everyone who is watching right now, keep watching.
Appreciate that. All right. Take it easy, guys.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, man, absolutely amazing segment. I'm really enjoying these learning segments, especially in Bongo. You know what I mean? Phenomenal. But guys, we're gonna take a 2-minute break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna get started with the ordinal hour. The on-chain hour. So look out for that in about 2 minutes. See you guys.
All right.
Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Jagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. eyes everywhere. Gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Odin 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution.
All right, and we are back, guys. Thank you for that 2 minutes. But yeah, man, let's kind of get into the on-chain hour here. But first, I want to get your opinions on that, because, like, you know, we've been here for a long time. You know, the tech is the most important thing. Obviously, you know, we need community and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Something about that kind of really pushed me there a little bit. What is your full opinion on that? Don't hold back. I want to be the most honest show in crypto, and that's Revolution.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the tech. I think it's well, I guess this kind of it wraps into it, but it's liquidity, right? And when you see number go up really quick, it attracts people to try to create FOMO. So the FOMO is where it is, right? And I think that, like, for us to have that, you got to have a home base, right? And I think Odin is trying to do that. I think Odin's success was primarily driven through the connection that, you know, the Omnity team had with BeLife in the East. And so so they were able to grab that part of the crypto community right now, and that has brought success there, but it hasn't been in East and West. And I think that only Solana has that right now, or Ethereum had that before. And so, you know, having a home base is going to be what drives that liquidity kind of concentrated. And I think that's what we got to have. And yeah, and so that does wrap into tech, because, you know, that gives you a kind of, well, it's kind of like consensus too, though, right? Because like I said, you know, like the tech is fast on Odin, right? And it's fast on Funky Bit, but there's not a full consensus and big huge amounts of capital just being concentrated, bringing East and West together. So I think that's what we have. So I think, yes, some tech, but we have tech right now that could work.
Well, the problem is these techs are on ICP and base, right? And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna kind of say that, you know, the Bitcoin communities need to stop focusing on tech and getting communities, but you're not even technically building on Bitcoin. You're building it around runes, which is a Bitcoin layer 1 asset. But you're taking that Bitcoin layer 1 asset and you're bringing it to another chain, right? Which it's completely fine. I'm completely down with that. I love interoperability, but you can't sit there and kind of we bob and weave and say, you know, we got to stop focusing on tech. There is no tech. I mean, we have the most basic set of token standards, BRC20s, runes, and so on, and alkanes, right? Basic compared to everything else. No smart contracts here, but we're seeing stuff like BitVM being built, right? We need communities built around the tech, because what that's going to do, that's going to allow building. I'm completely down for building communities around meme coins, but I feel like we're just not there yet.
But the problem with Bitcoin, if you're going to focus on tech and Bitcoin, nothing's going to ever be good enough. I'm telling you, because there's always going to be a group of Bitcoiners. No, because there's going to be a group of maxis that talk down to Arch, because they're going to say, well, it's not technically fully on Bitcoin layer 1. Then you're going to have people that say, well, technically it's not fully non-custodial. You know, dude, I'm telling you, like, we've seen it, you know.
Well, that's like saying the bankers talking shit on Bitcoin. Bitcoin will never be an asset in the world because the bankers will talk shit on it. Like, of course.
So my point with that is, I do think that, like, there needs to be like an overall consensus of, like, the space of, okay, Bitcoin assets are the top of the top. We feel that way, right? But, like, to get that means that you have the overall broad crypto community agreeing upon that, right? Right now, they all agree that Bitcoin is the best asset itself, but the entire broad crypto community doesn't agree that Bitcoin assets are also the best secondary asset classes You know what I mean? And what changes that? Liquidity and market caps. Like, you can't say that if your biggest market cap fungible token is 300 million versus billions of dollars of market cap for secondary tokens on Solana, secondary tokens on Ethereum. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and to get that, you're going to have to liquidity drives everything, and then community is a part of that. Like, I actually think that like tech is overrated in terms of certain aspects of it. Now, security, everybody knows that. Like, you know, Bitcoin's top of the top for that. But in terms of like, you know, it's just like the internet. No one knows how the internet works on your iPhone, and no one's in the future. No one's gonna know what chain they're on. We both agreed about that.
I disagree, because most people have the iOS, so they believe that the iOS is better than the Android, right? I mean, I think 90%
From a technical like hardware standpoint, not even close. Android's like way better.
Then why does everyone I know have an iPhone?
Because it's so simplistic. It's so easy to
Exactly.
use. That's not tech
Exactly.
though. It's not tech. It's just like pressing a.
That is the tech. That's exactly what tech is. It's
Dude,
easy use. It's a use case.
So for
iOS
example,
is better than Android.
if you ask a developer straight up today, I've heard this from
But then we go
several
back to the user
developers that say
experience.
that
We'll go back
Android. That's what I'm saying. So user experience, user experience isn't tech though. That's just like making it like dumbed down. You know what I mean? Dumbed down, because like think about the people that love iPhones. They're like, you know, like all girls love it. They don't like computer hard, but if you looked in like the 2010s to 2020s, a lot of my friends that were into computers and stuff, they had Androids. They were like, oh, it's way better from like a hardware standpoint, you know, storage or whatever, and processing and all this stuff, right? But then I was like, well, like I don't need it for all that stuff on my phone. You know what I mean? I just need to be able to do text messages and stuff like that, right? So that's why I think that we get too much into the weeds in crypto, because the everyday person, and that's why mass adoption hasn't really happened as fast as it should, because everyday people don't give a crap about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just we had a base builder today trying to come at Bitcoin tech, basically. That's what I saw it as, right? You can't sit there and say you're building for Bitcoin when you're building on base. Yeah, their main goal is Arch, right? But then again, you're still going to deposit, so you're not even technically on Arch, right? So to me, that's what kind of just annoyed me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that your argument was. Everybody has their own, like, whatever you want to argue, how you feel, and everybody's entitled to that. I think it was a good philosophical debate earlier. I think, but I don't think it's black and white. I'll say that for both sides.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. All right, let's kind of get into Bitcoin's. Just take a look at Bitcoin real quick. We won't get into price action yet, but we'll kind of just dig into some conversational stuff here. Let me present my screen. So we got Bitcoin sitting around basically 104, a little under there. It's sitting there, a nice little sideways momentum right now. Very sideways, actually. We kind of got this like head of the snake, it almost looks like. What are you thinking, man? What are you thinking when you see the sideways consolidation right now?
Well, if you look at the previous sideways consolidation, we should probably expect a eventual leg up here, right? If we were to see like a big leg down, then I think that would be very bad news, right? Because then it says, okay, this momentum is getting killed by something. Let's look at the last, real large leg down. If you go back, it's in April, mid-April, something like that, right? So, I mean,
it was down only from January 20th.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was January 20th to about, I want to say until about April 10th. It was pretty much down only, with the bottom kind of being that April 10th moment.
Yeah, and look, if we are truly still in the bull run, then I expect consolidation with another leg up, right? To kind of play into Q4 with that big leg up, and then we'll see what happens after that. But we haven't even started to ascend to some of these projections, that some people are saying 250 by the end of this year. Some people are saying higher, 500K by the end of this year. We still got quite a bit to go to get even started, right? So
yeah, 100%. And we definitely got that V-shaped recovery that a lot of big analysts are talking about here. They said, a lot of Bitcoin runs really start with a V-shaped recovery. Do you see this being that maybe a V-shaped recovery right now that could actually spark potential upward movement if we just continue this V shape.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but like having consolidation right now, I think is okay
Yeah.
because we've seen that pretty strong leg up right there, right? So having a little bit of consolidation is normal, I think, after that, and then continue on, right? Um, there was a website that I told you about, the Coin Codex, and a lot of these 30-day projections are like 20% increases on a lot of like altcoins, right? And so I think most people are forecasting, for alts at least, in Bitcoin, I think the projection was like 115 because they tend to like to be more conservative with Bitcoin, right? Because a lot of people that do throw predictions out are on the opposite side of that spectrum, right? They're like, okay, that 500K in like 2 months or whatever, right? And so I think they were calling for like 115 to like 120 in a 60-day period or something. But yeah, consolidation with the leg up continuation.
Yeah, 100%. And we're seeing Bitcoin dominance right now kind of have that higher low moment. Does Bitcoin dominance, obviously there's two moves to Bitcoin dominance to make, right? We can do something like this, or we can kind of potentially do something on the lines of come back up here and continue this, right? What do you think happens here with Bitcoin dominance? Do you see us potentially continuing falling off a cliff, heading back down to 58, 59, or potentially maybe getting back in? We have seen it break trend a few times here. Like back here, it had this amazing trend and then completely broke it, but then eventually it came back in. But what do you think happens first? Do you think we go head down to 58, 59, or do you think we get back into the 64, 65 range?
Yeah, so what I would hope, and I think is a possibility that plays out, is we get into more of risk on environment, and Bitcoin kind of like it sideways and trends up, not super aggressive, and the dominance will probably slowly kind of go down, not super aggressive either, and then alts will go up, right? So some good news with trade deals, the Fed, the next time he speaks, he's easing up, that kind of thing. That's what I think could happen, right? But that's like obviously things have to happen that way, right? So in these other situations, look, I'm not sure. Like Bitcoin just going straight up also could happen. Both could actually be aggressive up. Alts and a Bitcoin in risk on environment actually could happen, especially if we hit some of these targets and institutions get involved. So there's so many things that could happen here. But the trend of Bitcoin dominance just being so strong has been consistent throughout this entire year. But the only thing that I think that really kind of brings it down, and I don't think it goes straight down like a line, I think it actually kind of goes down slowly, is if we get risk on some of those things that I just mentioned, get the ball rolling, right? And then alts will thrive as Bitcoin dominance trends down some, but the price will trend up some, but not super hyper aggressive just yet.
Yeah, 100%. And if we look at this trend line here, it goes really kind of all the way back until November, back down here, right? Back in December 2002, since Bitcoin has really been on this dominance trend line that kind of leads us, obviously, and we broke it, right? Complete fake out now that we look back, and then now we're kind of above it again. Let me get rid of this one, which is the current trend line. But this is telling as well. So what do you think, man? Man, going all the way back to 2022, that's wild that Bitcoin dominance has just been on that tear. So
yeah. But I think that it's gonna simmer down. It's not gonna be as aggressive anymore.
Hope so. But and I put that trend line from 2002, it was like, God, because it had that one fake out, but then it's back. But we'll see. Hopefully we break down to the backside here. So jump into some news here. So Jack Dorsey had an interview the last couple of days, and he basically came out and says Bitcoin without utility, Bitcoin fades. And that's weird coming from him, right? On the sense of he has ocean mining. He employs the cat eater guy, right? So the biggest, one of the biggest maxis out there, especially on Twitter. What do you think of him? He means by this? Do you think he means like he wants Bitcoin to become more of a payment system, or does he actually believe that building on Bitcoin could be a success?
Does he still work for Ocean? Luke Dash, because Jack Dorsey actually retweeted one of his posts and was kind of against his thesis. Luke Dash Jr.'s thesis on the whole upturn debate. But I think that interview that you're talking about was a little bit older, but I've seen it before, and he seemed to have been talking more about as a payment system type of, use it more as payments and that type of utility versus data storage. But also, I think him going a little bit against the thesis of Luke Dash Jr. means that he's open-minded to, like, Bitcoin's data storage being valuable, right? Like, I mean, there's no doubt that that's valuable, right? I mean, come on, like, if you're gonna put files on Bitcoin and take space up, then you got to pay for it, right? So, but I think he was primarily speaking about the payment type of utility.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's kind of get into JP Morgan predicts Bitcoin is likely to outperform gold in H2 2025, driven to corporate buying and growing U.S. states. So what do you think JP Morgan is trying to get out of this? Because I always look for something, because these guys only do stuff that benefits them. Do you think potentially they're selling down their gold here and they're jumping it into Bitcoin?
Or, I mean, they could be doing the opposite, trying to get gold to get sold down and to acquire more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you never know with these
the
financial institutions and what the PSYOP is, what the PSYOP isn't, type of situation. Obviously, it's really simple to just read and comprehend that they think Bitcoin's going to go up in the second half of 2025, and maybe they're going to dump on people, after it goes up. But who knows? Who knows? Really, I mean, like, if Jamie Dimon's the one that's behind all this stuff, then I don't trust a single word that guy says.
Yeah, man. All right, jumping to the next thing. Sui stablecoin market cap hits 1 billion, all-time high, doubling in the last 2 months. So, and then on top of Sui stablecoin market, right? So then you had their actual Sui total DEX volume has surpassed 90 billion in total. And you see this chart here, man. It's just been completely up only. I mean, there hasn't really been any type of pullback on their DEX volume. So my question for you is, can Sui, one, compete with Solana, and two, can Sui be the chain of this cycle?
That's a lot of volume. We're not hearing about people in the circles necessarily, like, these Sui projects and this and that. Yeah. This is kind of a good example, I think, of like what the Bitcoin ecosystem is lacking, though. Being able to put out like stats like this. Yes, there's stats that they put out about like runes and stuff, but it's not this big, in terms of total volume.
It's down here. I mean,
exactly.
Comparison.
Exactly right. So, but this is a statement. We're actually, and also, what's another statement on the other side? I know I'm going off topic a little bit. Is Sui builders want to build on Bitcoin? We're gonna have a space stream next Monday.
They want Bitcoin to be on Sui. I don't know if technically they want to build on Bitcoin itself, but I would love to ask that question.
Yeah, well, they want to do what everybody else is doing, like from Cardano, from ICP and stuff like that. Build with it. I think they all see that trillions of dollars of liquidity possibly flowing out, right? So, but back to Sui. I mean, this is a statement, right? And so, we should probably be diving a little bit more on this, and we're gonna have the opportunity to kind of get acquainted with some Sui ecosystem builders on Monday.
Yeah, and to your point, right? Like they're pulling up all the wrap Bitcoin. They got Stacks Bitcoin now on Sui, and now we're potentially going to see M Bitcoin over there. Potentially down the line, you might see WBTC if it's not already there. So they want you to put your Bitcoin into Sui. I mean, it's one of the things that I think could potentially double their DEX volume, right? If you have people trading in and out of stable coins back into Bitcoin, back into the thing. And then on top of that, you take maybe SBTC and MBTC and put it in a liquidity pair and earn yield on Bitcoin, potentially 6 to 8%, depending on the trading value. So that's another thing. I think SUI is just definitely something that I think I might need to start really digging into over there because, right now, there's a lot of the retail aren't here yet. So getting into something like this now, especially maybe like even like a meme coin over there or even a DEX coin could be really, really amazing financial gains in that sense, but definitely something to be taking a look at over there.
Yep, for sure.
All right. Let's kind of get into the Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, they're actually building a Bitcoin leverage trading platform on Hemi, and they're also going to be on Botonics, but it looks like Hemi's going to be dropping first because Hemi is actually live on mainnet. Botonics will be going to mainnet, it looks like, within the next couple weeks. So definitely look out for that. But when you're using Artura on Hemi, potentially you're going to get the Hemi airdrop and the Artura airdrop. Double the airdrop, double the fun, and Hemi is backed by Binance. So they're going to have a coin. That's what I'm thinking. And so definitely, guys, when Artura launches, you definitely want to start playing over there. And then they launch on Botonics. Who knows the rewards Botonics going to give out? We don't know if Botonics is going to have a coin, but a lot of times too, it's a lot of the stuff's incentivized. So we definitely want you to take advantage of that and take advantage of it with Artura.finance.
Absolutely. And guys, before we get into the Bitcoin price action, if you could help us out by hitting that like on the YouTube side of things and subscribe to the channel and turning your notifications on so you know when we go live every weekday. And then on the X side, guys, share the space. I want to onboard, educate as many people to crypto and the Bitcoin ecosystem as possible. Same thing goes for you guys on the abstract side, guys. Share the stream. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action, starting with the hour time frame per usual. All right, let's take a look here. We have a little consolidation here on the stochastic RSI. Look like it wanted to head down below the oversold territory here. The sell pressure looks like it's starting to weaken here. So we could possibly have a setup of a move to the upside. We'll see here. We did have a big wick here that got to like 104.3, but we are consolidating here and we're starting to get this tightening of the Bollinger Bands, right? So we know what that means. Typically when that starts to tighten, you're waiting for a big move. And last time it tightened up, we got a move to the downside, right? Once that big move happens with consecutive trend candles, it widens, right? And then you start to kind of figure out where it wants to go. So what's going to happen today? I don't know. We got some hours to typically, like, it will take some time, right? So maybe the next 6 hours we're going to see a late evening push to the upside, I'm hoping, right? We have been kind of fluctuating, right, between 105 to all the way down to 101.3, and I think some of that had to do with maybe a headline or two with the Coinbase situation, but I think people are starting to get over that. Maybe we see that consolidation for the next 4 or 6 hours and then an upside move, or maybe another down move. Who knows? In terms of what we just came out of was down. So maybe we do kind of switch it up and go to the upside here. But yeah, the indicators are telling us maybe that the sell pressure is getting exhausted, but it's still too early in this Bollinger Band tightness. So I wouldn't be shocked if it turns back red and then kind of flips red, white for a little bit, and then decides to pick either a decision direction, like I said, here in about 4 to 6 hours. But yeah, chop. And if I would say, I would say probably a little bit more to the upside, since we just kind of came out of that, unless there is, any headlines that takes us to another direction here. So let's get out of the 1 hours, head to the 4 hour. 4 hour looks like it's about done with the sell pressure. I mean, we started the sell pressure Saturday, and then we started our first green candle here this morning, right? About what does it look like, 4 hours ago, right? So we just got into overbought territory not long ago. This has been tightening for a while here. You can see last time it did, it lasted a decent amount of time as well. So I don't know, big move looks like it's coming here too. So if we're coming out of sell pressure, then I think that idea might be correct, that we might have a big move to the upside. We'll see though. That's the hope. That's the 4 hour guys for you for Bitcoin. The weekly chart looks pretty good still. I'm not gonna really change my opinion about the weekly chart until something big happens, right? And I feel like we've eaten up some of this red candle though, so we do. It'd be great if we could flip that to green. But if we remain in this area till Sunday, I'm okay. I mean, look, we've had like consecutive green candles on the weekly chart, but this is also kind of tightening. So that's also kind of exciting, right? It just started not long ago right here, right? So maybe we eventually get a power move up, but the setup is there. I mean, we started the second green candle. Typically, when you get into an overbought or oversold territory, you stay there for a while because this is the weekly chart. So that's why I think we're going to have that continuation. I think we're going to see possibly a new all-time high towards the end of this month, or at least first week of June, something like that. But exciting that Bitcoin is doing well there on the weekly. The alt market, which is the others, so everything outside of Bitcoin and the top 10, looks okay. We were a lot more green aggressive uptrend, but I think because Bitcoin kind of did a hard stop, maybe it was the headlines from Coinbase that created it. The others chart kind of pulled back abruptly, is what you see here, right? So we were above the 50-day EMA on the weekly chart, and now we're back below it. But hey, look, if Bitcoin becomes aggressive, we do make a big move second half of today, and I expect this to kind of carry back on with this uptrend. But we do need to see Bitcoin probably get a bit aggressive first. And remember, I've been in the camp, even though I was proven wrong a bit on this big green candle, that I do think that like the others and alt markets do need to be more in the macro risk on environment. But hey, if this is an indicator of this green candle, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it is just kind of sentiment on Bitcoin, and it might just wait on that. We'll see though. But that's what I got, guys, for Bitcoin and the alt market. Let's take a look at the crypto bubbles here. Looking at the daily crypto bubbles, not too bad. I would say about 70%, maybe 75% green. Some red tokens that stick out to me. Bonk down 3.4%. You can see Quant down 4.6%. Jasmine down 2.8%. Fartcoin down 0.9%. But it's not really even a full percent there, but we'll see. But most everything is green here still on the day. So if we go to the weekly, it's a little less green. It's more like 65% green. But Dogwoof hat, wow. Ansem probably been pumping this, talking about he's going to put this logo on the sphere or something maybe. And then Hype is up 11.5%. Hex, wow. I mean, when you see Hex and Pulse Chain up 26.4% for Pulse, 18.7% for Hex. Something is the world okay? All right. That is what I'm seeing on the alt market as well, guys. Hopefully that helps you guys.
Yep. Let's kind of get into, before we get into the roll call, I'm gonna jump into the Bitcoin crypto fear and greed here. So wow, man, this thing has just been so sideways. Last week 73, yesterday a 70, and my hint for you is we're in between 70 and 73. Where do you think we are?
That is such a weird.
Too fast. 71. So, I mean, you barely had any.
71.5.
That would have been perfect. But yeah, so we're sitting here at 71. Man, dude, this greed. It's just been completely sideways now. So crazy. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Yeah.
But let's kind of jump into that roll call here. First is first on this show. Let's kind of get into see who was first today. So today is Friday the 16th. So it looks like Lackey Lukey, congratulations to you, my friend. You with that first, man. When was the last time you won? Okay, you won a few days ago. Let me bring up my chart here. Looks like it is your 16th win of the year. Congratulations to you, man. You're up there with Danny. You're up there with Webdro. Webdro has 19, so you're right behind Webdro. And then we have ASAP Benji right there with 10. So yeah, so it's looking like it's Danny Boy, Webdro, Lackey Lukey leading the charge here. But plenty of time for anyone who wants to get that first comment. You still have a ton of days to go. You can still hop in here. You do need to I have a lot of catching up to do, but you can still end up winning that Bitcoin frog. So shout out to you guys who play every single day. Let's kind of get in the comments here. So Lackey Lukey, and then we have ASAP Benji, Danny Boy, D Blocks, Mr. Hanky is in here. The Eagle says dog go to the moon. Irita TV is here. Shout out to Irita. Says Jack Dorsey's passion is Nostra. Yeah, well, that's his new ex or something, right? I believe. Mr. Hanky again. Yeah, Noster or something like that. I know it's like a Bitcoin driven Twitter.
Social, yeah.
Social, yeah. And then Mats is here, followed by Do Not Disturb, Webdro again, Lackey Lukey, Mempool Punk, and then we have Math is here. Shout out to Math, your first time making roll call. Vinji's all week, man. Thank you so much for being here. X is here. Called you out earlier. Chief Axel is here. Ingua is here. Shout out to Ingua. Daniel is here. Let's see. Malam Yuri every single day. Appreciate you, my friend, and Mice Elf to finish it off. He said that the community is the asset, not the code. Yeah, man. 100%. See you. That is your roll call for today. All right. Let's kind of hop into Fluid Friday here. So every Friday we like to dig into our friends over at Fluid. Fluid is building something really, really awesome. Actually just dropped this week. It is called Aquarium. So Aquarium it's different. It's different than anything I've ever seen before because it's Cardano, right? So if you go to aquarium.fluid tokens and you go into Fluid tokens, so they actually have three different assets here. So it's gasless transactions with Aquarium. Make transactions now on Cardano without worrying about gas fees. Schedule future payments only on Aquarium. Try Babel fees. Make transactions without gas fees. So you can actually do a transaction and you can actually choose any asset pretty much out of the three here that you would like to pay in. I think it's Fluid, ADA, and SNEC. So you can one of those, you can pay that gas fee in there and you can do transactions on Cardano using them. So back to Aquarium here. So they have set up tanks. This is where you guys can earn rewards by setting up free tanks. Sponsor transactions on Aquarium by setting up free, fee tanks. You earn rewards by sponsoring transactions. So you basically come up here and you basically stake your Cardano. I think it's just No, I think it's a couple of different. Okay, so it's USM, SNEC, and FDT. You can stake that into the pool there. You enter your address. You can add that there, and then their last thing is schedule a transaction. This is kind of cool. So let's just say you have a payment once a month. Let's just say the first of the month. You can potentially set that and forget it, right? You'll set that payment of ADA or whatever you want, and you can actually schedule that for, it's kind of like setting up,
ACH.
It's like basically ACH. For your bank, right? So that's really cool. What do you think about Aquarium? Obviously, there's more to come with this. There is a Bitcoin side to this as well, but as of right now, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this team is just constantly building like infrastructure, right? And Cardano is a UTXO chain that has a DeFi ecosystem, and it took a while for them to get there to where it's functioning smoothly. And Fluid is at the forefront of that, right? So I'm excited to really dive into this, and that was really cool to see that stable token is finally being represented on Cardano, right? And so I think what we'll do is get like a real breakdown on how users can benefit from this, right? You can earn Babel fees and set up these fee tanks and just take full advantage of this. But it's exciting because look, they're constantly releasing something new, whether it's on the Cardano side or the Bitcoin side. These guys are constantly building. So exciting, and I'm glad, happy for them.
Yeah, 100%. This is really cool. And they have another feature. We talked about it last week. So if you go to fluidtokens.com, launch the Bitcoin side of it, it'll take you to their Bitcoin side of Fluid, where you can actually now, there's an airdrop tool. I don't know if anyone else has an airdrop tool, but I haven't really seen one. Fluid seems to be the one leading the charge right now. So the BRC20 is coming soon, and then you have the rune. So if let's just say you wanted to do airdrop a rune, you continue. You can upload a file, or you can add manually. That is up to you guys. So add it manually is pretty easy as well. You put the address and the amount. Remember, you just do offsets of 25. So if you want to send 100, that's fine. But 102, you might want to just make sure you're sending in in 25s. So, and that's how it's going to send it. And then you can, after you pick your address, you'll pick your rune. You can pick from the runes they have here, or you can go to something like Luminex and grab, something maybe that's not here. Let's say Mento Memori, for instance. You want to make sure you grab the rune ID, and then you want to grab the decimals. For this one, it's 0. Some of them it's 1, some of them it's 8, some of them it's 16. Just make sure you're grabbing the right decimal and the right rune ID, and then that will actually, and you'll jump back here, and you guys can plug that in to the airdrop details or the airdrop assets. So you'll plug the ID in there and the decimals in there, and then you'll hit continue, and then you're ready to airdrop. It's really that simple. It's that easy. So definitely check that out. And then on top of that, also remember they have the staking. If you are a leader of a community or want to get some rune staking done, you can reach out to those guys on Discord, and you guys can open a vault. For anything. If you have your own rune and you want to open a vault for that, you potentially can do that as well. Reach out to those guys through the Discord. But what do you think, man? What do you think about these 2 new tools that they've added in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, look, I expect them to add more because that's what they do. Yeah. They continually just add infrastructure. So really, really cool. I know the airdrop runes tool is going to be very, very useful for runes community founders or runes founders that have established communities, or ordinals founders that want to airdrop runes. And they said it looks like they have BRC20s coming next, and maybe they integrate alkanes too, because that seems to be the popular thing recently, right? But it's all about being able to allow users to have more tools and resources for infrastructure, right? For Bitcoin, and so and the Cardano side. So that's the bonus of being a developer that's familiar with UTXO chains, and we'll see more in the future, I'm sure of it.
Yep. Yeah, man. And that'll conclude Fluid Friday. Definitely check out everything they're building at fluidtokens.com. All right. Let's take into some market updates here. Let's jump into runes first. Okay, so we got the runes, we got dog. Let's go to the 1 day. Let's go to 7 day, because I really haven't seen what these guys have been doing. So we got dog up 3.9%. We got Magic Internet Money down 7%. Billy up 13% on the week. That is a little surprising. Pups up 20%. Liquidium, what a move by Liquidium, up a ton here. And then RuneCoin up 25%. But what do you think about the movement on the runes as of right now?
I think that, obviously it's green, right? For most of them all, except for Magic Internet Money. So it's a move up. But I think that there was a lot of people that probably had, bags and stuff. And so it's harder for these to move up in the same fashion as something like on Solana. But I mean, look, Billy was, I think, down to like maybe $5 million market cap, and it's already a 4x from there. And so the X's are happening, but they're going to happen a little bit slower, I think, than these other ecosystems. But that look, runes can move fast, though. We've seen it. We saw it last Q4. We saw Billy go from kind of like this $20 million market cap to 155 within a month and a half, or a month, around there. And so don't be shocked when you see that, right? And so if that infrastructure is set by the time the real move starts to make, whether that's Saturn and Arch, right? Or because it's supposedly July, right? So that's perfect timing heading into Q4. We could see some crazy numbers. But this is, what I would like to see here is not a pullback, right? Yeah. Meaning, I don't want to see Billy back to under 10 million. I don't want to see Dog back under 200 million. I don't want to see Pups back under 15 million. To me, that would be discouraging, right? But I'm okay to see it like fluctuate between like 15 for Billy, 15 and 25 for like a month or something, and then make that move up. I'm okay with that. Just let's not bring it back to where it like really creates, you just lose that encouragement from like the holder base and the community and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. If we start going back down the steps after continually going up here, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for the ecosystem. Not going to be good for morale. It's not going to be good for new money. that wants to kind of enter. They want to. New money likes to enter on green candles. For some reason, they don't like entering on red candles. So yeah, you're right. I think we got to continue momentum there. Let's jump over to the NFT side of things, or the ordinals, non-fungibles. So right now we have Taproot Wizards, man, back over that 0.2. Nice week by them, up 6% on the week. And then we have Bitcoin Puppets did down a little bit, but still sitting at 0.48. I think they're still number one in market cap. Node Monkeys right there though at 0.38, just about 0.01. But that's a lot though, right? That's like $1,000. Let's check it in USD value there. Was it?
Yeah.
No,
Go back. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so you have so about $1,100 difference there. So
what's the MBTC?
What is this one?
I don't know.
That's interesting. MBTC.
Click on it.
Well, I think a Merlin Bitcoin, but I don't think that has anything to do with Merlin over there. So Ordinal MaxiBiz sitting around almost around 3K, down a little bit, 1% there. Base Angels down a little bit. OCM up 14%. We haven't really seen much of OCM in a while. And then finishing off with the Quantum Cats around 3.8. Wow, that is low for Quantum Cats.
Yeah, well, I mean, the money has to come from somewhere to pump the Wizards, right? And they're at 22K, so you can't have every project associated with you like just thriving at all times, right? I mean, we actually saw that with the well, I don't know. I used to think that the Wizards was a part of the Quantum Cats, but they aren't. Not the new Wizards, the Taproot Wizards or whatever they were before.
100%. Yep, and the Pepe Nows. Let's check over on Ethereum, see how their NFTs are doing here. We got the Pudgy Penguins kind of sideways on. Let's go back to the 7-day.
Do you agree with what Bongo said, that Luca Nets is the greatest founder in the NFT sector?
Oh, by far. I mean, who else would you put up there in the top 3?
Frank from D-Gods? No, just kidding.
The guy quit and sold all of his damn, you know what I mean? Like, who else is there when you think about it, right? So you're looking at it like, so the ETH ones are the top, right? So you got CryptoPunks, you got Pudgy Penguins, you got Doodles, you got Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? But so this is Yuga, right? But so would you say Yuga is up there? I think Luca Ness has Yuga beat. I mean, and everything. I mean, I guess an ape is still a little bit more expensive than a Pudgy.
Yeah, I would say from like an individual, like there's no one that competes with Luca Nets. Like Bored Ape is a corporation actually, and they have like a team of like executives and shit like that, right? So they had a lot of money to start with. And I think Pudgy Penguins, it was just like, if you go watch Luca Nets' interviews, like he talks about like how he was successful before, like in different businesses, Web2, traditional business life and stuff like that. And so it just carried over. So yeah, I would say he's the best individual founder or owner, I would say, or whatever, CEO, whatever you want to call it.
Base NFTs, I really don't know much about these guys over here. Looks like the OK Computers had a big week, but looks like that's the top one. Nothing really on base NFT wise. Ape Chain, same thing. Don't really know much about a lot of the stuff that's going on over here. Abstract, I knew that there's one, but the big one is over there is Bearish kind of sitting flat on the
can you switch it to USD over there? I'm just curious if it does the total. Okay, it does do the volume too. Okay, cool. So
yeah, this is actually a better indicator. So
dude, is this abstract? This is
abstract.
Dude, that Dream Million, I wonder what that token is worth now. Remember he actually, the founder, like everybody was like, so it hit the bonding curve on Moonshot, and then it like went to like 40K, and everybody was like, oh man, like we all believed in this guy. Like they weren't blaming him, he was trying, but like at that time liquidity was like not abundant on Abstract. But then like now I'm hearing about Dream Millio Maker as the NFT thriving, so I'm curious just like what the token is, because there's a token too over there.
$1 million in volume over there as well. I mean, it's by far
NFT,
there's nothing even close. There's nothing even close on, so that's crazy. And that's on a 7-day. So yeah, I wonder what's going on with that. But All right. And then let's check out Barachain. Steady Teddy's sitting around $386, down 10% on the week. And then you got a couple of these other ones, Bit Bears and stuff like that. So I'm curious if any of these ever just take off on these newer chains. It's Testnet. Why do you think they're showing Testnet? I guess I don't know. It's weird.
For what?
For Monad, they're showing NFT Testnet. That's
I'm
weird.
not even sure. Yeah.
Avalanche NFTs, don't really see much going on with Avalanche. Yeah, I don't really see much over here.
So let's see the total. Let's see how the chains are doing. So if you scroll to the very top,
yeah,
then you can see the total volume right there, right?
Gotcha.
So like Avalanche is doing, and what is this? 24-hour? Hit the 7-day. Like in that graph.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, hit that, and then you can see 114,000 for Avalanche, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go to Arbitrum, click that, 92,000, right? So I'm sure they're probably in order, maybe, or maybe not. And then that's
no, they're not.
That's say 5.3 thousand. So they definitely don't have much.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then BNB has 2.3 million, which is actually really solid.
Yeah, that's really good. And then Polygon
6.9 million. Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Courtyard did 4.4 of that though.
Dude, Courtyard's thriving, bro.
I know. It really is
thriving.
It's probably going to be one of the top protocols for sure. Well, then let's look at Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We didn't look at the
6.8 million. 6.8 million. Go to Solana though. That was the first
49 million.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to they're winning. If you go to Solana on the far left, then you'll see.
Okay,
I think they're number 2. I think they're number. Oh, okay. So 7.4 million, and then Bitcoin. Go to Bitcoin.
6.8. So right there.
Wow. Okay.
What's this one right here? Oh, all chains. Yeah. Okay. So $76 million all chains. Down about 35% in the sales wise. Yeah. So NFTs aren't doing that great this week. So but yeah, man. Let's take a look at let's go to DeFi Llama. Check out what's going on in the DeFi area of stuff.
Well, yeah, and then if we have time, maybe we can go into the coin codex as well.
Yeah, let's do that. You want to get that set up while I just take a look at what is going on DeFi Llama. So overview, DeFi, it looked like DeFi was pumping a little bit here. So DeFi is really following Bitcoin's price action almost to a T. This looks very similar to what Bitcoin is doing. So you did see DeFi really take off in 2021 and then dip off, and before it really taking its peak in 2022. 2022 seemed to be the peak, but now we're kind of getting these upward momentum angles here that could really push DeFi. Let's see what's so we have about $243 billion in stablecoin market cap, DEX volume about 15 billion, and perps about 12 billion. Yeah, with Ethereum kind of probably leading that charge. So yes, so Ethereum's that's pretty telling there. Ethereum is 61 billion of the 116. So Ethereum is probably a little bit more than half. Yeah, a little bit more than half of the entire DeFi.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Solana DeFi ecosystem, there isn't a ton of protocols compared to Ethereum.
And 9 billion.
Yeah. So, and they're probably number 2, right?
Yeah. Jito, Jupiter, Camino, Radium. Yeah. So yeah, Solana's, are they number 2? I guess so. 61. What's Tron doing? Tron's at 6. Solana's at 9. Okay, so yeah. And then you got Bitcoin with all its L2s at 6.23. Binance Smart Chain at 6. So yeah, so Ethereum is like 10x. Well, not really 10x, like 5-6x everything else. So
yeah, exactly. So you got to respect that. They started it.
Yeah,
and so
sure.
It's not too much of a shocker that they have the most TVL there. But yeah, I can share my screen here. So this is a website that actually I came across through a friend that was talking to me about, this token, they're projecting this token to be, this in the next month or so. And I was like, where are you guys getting that from? So if you go to coincodex.com, I'm getting familiar with it. So obviously it's just a projection, right? So it's not, they're just using whatever algorithm they have. But like, for example, which coin do you want to look at?
Let's look at dog. Start off with dog rune.
So if you type in dog here in the top right corner in the search field here, and you go to the second option, it says dog Bitcoin in parentheses dog. Click that. And it'll bring up the stats, the overview stats page, the profile of dog. And you can see the price is 0.003571. If you click here on this tab here that says prediction, it'll give you kind of a 5-day prediction, a 1-month prediction. And from what I was told, anything more than a month is really not, it's obviously just them throwing a dart in the dark, right? So
yeah.
But the 30-day projection is pretty decent in terms of what they experienced, right? So the 5-day projection is looking like they're looking to see it jump up to 0.00.
Are you able to zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, let me try.
There we go. Awesome. So, okay. So 004. Yeah, I mean, that's what? 2x from here? So that's like saying $1 billion market cap. Well, just under.
Yeah. So 0045, but that's in 5 days, right? So a lot of this website has a lot of stuff starting to really take off starting next week, which to me is interesting. What is next week, right? Is there any big events next week or anything like that? Or is this just kind of like your typical, So let's take a look at Merlin token. So Merlin chain, you can see that. Okay, it has the overview right here. Price is at 11 cents. If you go to prediction.
Now, how often does this change? Do you know? Do they do the predictions like daily, or has it been kind of the same?
Well, I mean, I'm still learning it, right?
Yeah.
So the guy that told me about this website, I mean, he's pretty, he was really successful last cycle, right?
Yeah.
So I think him and his friends look at this, take that for whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But the 5-day prediction is, so next week it's saying that, Merle should be in that 14-cent range. Obviously, this is just predictions, right? So it could be 10 cents next week. Who knows? A month from now, this is the one that gets me. So I think a month from now is when this website is looking to be really, really bullish, right? So it's saying 35 cents, saying 35 cents there, right? So that's obviously would be a really big jump up. Let's look at Bitcoin though. Something that this is where I'd say they get kind of conservative, just because. Yeah. So if you look at the prediction, the 5-day prediction, well, I don't know. That's not that conservative.
That's not conservative at all.
So
what the?
Yeah. So they're saying next week.
Dude, that's insane.
That would be nice, right? But then it's saying a pullback here in a month. Right?
That's normal though. If we get let's just say we shoot up to 128 and have a little pullback back down to like 113, but stay above the 3-month looking nice. That's not conservative at all, bro.
but 3 months from here would be
August.
August, yeah. Malam Yuri's asking, what's the website again? The website is coincodex.com. Here, I'll drop it right here in the chat here for you guys, so you guys can use that. And you just in the right, you pick a token. Let's see what they think Ethereum's going to get to, because that one is, the Ethereum boys are probably like, check Ethereum.
Yeah. Because we should just run down the line of. So what does this say? Okay. Wow. Compared to Bitcoin, that's not good.
Whoa.
Is that right?
Why?
What are they?
What's going on?
That is weird.
What's the price right now?
25? 26?
Why would it go down? Why would they predict this to go down? Dude, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. All right, let's do XRP.
Hold on. There's a little explanation here. It says, according to our current Ethereum price prediction, to drop by 26 points. What?
I don't
That's
understand
weird.
that.
I don't know, man. I feel
Is that a
that there's
mistake?
like something wrong with that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. That wouldn't be
Yeah.
good. I mean, look at Solana. So something
Same
happened. I
thing.
don't know. Did I click on something?
No.
I feel like I
It
might
just
be in
got
a
really
different.
bearish on the top coins there. Go back to Bitcoin.
No, like let's turn this energy back around.
We were so bullish,
don't
and
know
now
what-
I just pulled back bearish. Yeah, same.
No, dude. So that's weird, dude. That's
Check XRP.
weird, right?
Unless they're just calling for a Bitcoin only pump here. This will be telling, yeah, dude, they're calling for a Bitcoin only pump.
What?
Bro. You can't have
Well,
this
no,
going.
because
I mean,
like
dude,
Merlin
XRP right
chain.
now is 242. Well, that's
Yeah,
the
but
thing.
look at Merlin.
Follows Bitcoin. Merlin follows Bitcoin. It always has.
Let's look at something else.
Let's look at
So
BNB.
if it okay,
Again,
this will probably be a negative for prediction too. Then
because it's EVM. Yeah,
I
same
wonder
thing.
if it's like I wonder if it's doing that based off of what it is today. You know what I mean? Because look, whenever it's red, I
Yeah,
see down, but I bet you Bonk is going to be projected to go up. Watch. See?
yeah.
So
it's kind of going off the daily.
But that's yeah.
That's huge changes though. You can't go from 25 to 100-hour ETH to 19.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's about. Like, don't don't use this then, guys.
we were so bullish on that.
That does not sound right. Or I'm looking at it wrong. One of the two things. Which I definitely could be doing that. But that was weird. That was weird, right? I'll have to definitely relook at that. Anyways,
for sure. Let's jump over to CoinMarketCap and take a look at what is going on over there. So we have Bitcoin's looking strong, man. 104. It's still piling up there. ETH, I can't see ETH ever going back under $2,000, honestly. But everything's really sideways over here. BNB. So BNB this week, XRP actually, I think did it pass? Yeah, I think it passed Tether this week, but it looks like Tether kind of popped back, but it's down a little bit. So yeah, man, BNB, Solana in that 6th spot, and Dogecoin in the 8th spot. Cardano, with another huge week from Cardano. Tron, Sui. Wow, dude, Sui is top 11. I didn't realize that. Did you?
Yeah.
You realize Sui was above Chainlink and Avalanche?
No, I didn't know that. No. Well, I mean, they've been getting a lot of momentum. So it isn't based off of that green or red though. Just to be clear, because Ethereum is in the green and it's showing red. So there must be something in this algorithm or whatever that's thinking that they're going to go down. So I'm going to dive into it later, guys. But that's not what it is.
It's definitely interesting though to kind of see that. Is there any other place that does predictions? I have never found like a prediction site like that besides like some of those paid platforms.
Yeah. So you said Sui is ranked number 11th in total market cap.
Yeah, dude. So Sui's sitting there, at like almost 13 billion. Pretty insane. Tron though 25 billion. Hyperliquid right there at 9.2. Shiba Inu.
Man, what a quick that was a quick run up, right? Because when did Hyperliquid launch?
Hyperliquid launched I want to say July, August of last year. And then it was because I remember in November it was like $8. Remember, because we were talking about Magic Eden and potentially Magic Eden kind of following that trajectory, but it never really did. And then Bitcoin Cash right there in the 19th spot, sitting at $3.14. Polkadot, dude, this is one that's like Wow, I can't imagine being a Polkadot bull right now. You're down in the bear market lows. I mean, I think Polkadot hit around $3-4, and you're sitting around 490 in May of 2025. I know a lot of those guys weren't expecting that. Litecoin just over $100 at 101. Monero at $341 in the 23rd spot. Pepe sitting at around $5 billion. You think Pepe has an opportunity to potentially maybe catch Shiba? Or so Pepe's at 5, Shiba's at 8. Do you think Pepe kind of passes Shiba anytime soon?
No, there's no like other edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other than they're just both meme coins. Actually, Shiba, in my opinion, has more of an edge because there's other stuff that is involved with their community and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, I think that, and that's the thing where like first is first has always been a thing where we are in Bitcoin, and if you zoom out, it kind of has been a thing the entire time, right? If you look at like, you know, now some of these new tokens that could launch, like Solana came out, I forgot when, but it like speed raced past some of these OG tokens, you know what I mean? But in terms of the Ethereum chain, I think she will always be the biggest meme there.
Yeah, for sure. WorldCoin sitting at 1.7. That's
how is that like, is that a business now? I mean, like, aren't they like doing identity stuff with your iris?
So 90% of the coin is held by the team. That's why the market cap's so high, right? So it's trading, sitting here at $1.16, but like the team has most of the tokens because they want to distribute them to everyone in the world, right? So you're getting a certain amount. You're getting like $100 worth of WorldCoin for just scanning your eyeball. And it doesn't sound like a lot to us, but when you're in South Africa or some of these smaller countries, right? People are lining up to scan their eye for $100.
But how are you going to get the more well-off countries to do it?
I mean, if they showed up in Texas and said, "Yo, would you scan your eyeball for $100?"
No, no, I'm not. No, thank you. I don't know what you're going to do.
But let's just say the number go up. Say this 10x's. Would you do it for $1,000?
No, I wouldn't.
I would do it for $1,000.
I wouldn't. not scan. I wouldn't let them scan my eye or anything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would.
$1,000, dude. You wouldn't let scan your eyeball?
Well, because I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah.
What if you're like now in a like monitoring? I mean, we're probably all already getting monitored, but like at that point, like now this company is specifically monitoring you, like in your identity and all that stuff. No, thank you for me.
Yeah, Sonic sitting at 1.5 billion. This is crazy to me that Sonic is so far down the list. This is probably a great opportunity, honestly. I think Sonic can get in the top 10. Am I crazy for thinking that?
1.5 billion?
Yeah.
I don't think that the same Ponzi-nomics and stuff is going to work. But you know, they
are the father of DeFi.
They're smart. So I mean, if they can think of another approach or whatever, then
I mean, let's just say, you know, they are the fastest chain that I've ever used by far. I mean, and you know, they have I don't know, man. I think Sonic, they
when you're that fast,
it
doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like unless they're gonna be an institutional type chain to where they're gonna be handling loads and loads and loads of transactions and data and all that stuff. That's where I think that will you know, will matter more, because once you're at a certain speed, like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, for DeFi usage like us, like we're using the PC and stuff, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Oh, let me send the link over to.
I already did. I sent it.
Okay, cool.
Barcoin is sitting at 1.2. Say at 1.2. Mutable X at 1.2. A lot of tokens are at 1.2. That's crazy. Virtuals 1.2. Quant 1.1. Wow, dude, from 70 all the way down to about 65, all sitting at 1.2. And
okay, so like imagine you're somebody that like worked for a TradFi company forever, and then you got moved over to the digital assets department, and they're making you research coin market cap. You're looking through it, you're like, coming in at 65 is fart coin, and you're like you know what I mean, like this is the new financial system.
I know.
It's gonna look way different in my opinion in like 10 years. You know, the top 100.
So you don't think Dog with Hat and Fart Coin are in the top 100?
I don't know. I think they're gonna get pushed out to like I don't know. Was that PayPal USD? Is that what you just showed?
Yeah, PayPal USD at 616. Well, I'm sorry, a little under $1 billion. There, PayPal USD could actually really start pushing some of the stable coins to kind of get up in market cap. We could definitely see that, but I'm kind of shocked that it's under $1 billion. It's not really being utilized at all.
Well, you know, like, okay, I think like if DeFi is going to be successful, then these big branded companies need to be really competitive with their service offerings and fees and price and stuff. PayPal's so used to like ripping people off so much. That's my opinion, personal opinion. In terms of like, you know, if you're a seller on eBay, you know, the percentage that they would take out, and like when you send to your bank account and all this stuff, they got to switch their mindset, because you can't use that once the competition starts to heat up a ton. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, because they were able to get away with it in Web 2, where there was millions and millions of users. But I think like when it comes to like rates and financial like sector, where people are smart and thinking about like what the best situation they can get, I would think it would get competitive. But I would also think if they're going to go in the stablecoin sector, that they're going to start to roll out some financial products that people can benefit from. You know, staking or some sort of their version of investment.
Yeah, 100%. Core got to be like the highest market cap Bitcoin L2, right? I haven't seen anything. Yeah, Core is.
I think it is.
It's probably because of all that Coinbase money, and they're the only one that's on Coinbase as well.
Yep.
Helium at $4. Damn, Helium's down from. I remember it being like 11, 12. Last time I was looking at it. Here's one of your favorites. People call this the real Bitcoin. Bitcoin SV sitting at $36. Is this an opportunity? No.
I mean, it'll go up. It'll go up with everything.
Do you think some of these Bitcoin forks, meaning Cash and SV, and do you think they can potentially? I mean, technically, they have the same master structure as Bitcoin, right? They just don't have the nodes, right? So that's like the biggest thing. When you do a transaction on SV, you gotta hope that your block gets mined.
Yeah, I don't know. In the future, they're gonna have to like just their branding will be like Bitcoin SV.
Yeah.
Look, the $700 million market cap, it could continue on. That's the weird thing about some of these, man. It's like what is making these things like continue on, and it's their market caps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like perceived value at some point that continually grew and never goes away. It's like, you know, precious metals has like a group, and everybody knows the top ones, right? Like, you know, the platinums, the gold, the, you know, all those, you know, really expensive precious metals. And then there's some that are in the middle and the bottom, but they're still worth they have a value attached to them, you know, and so it's perceived value. And I feel like that's what our market is. Because like, you know, like what kept some of these coins surviving, you know what I mean? Without like transactions on the chains and all these things, you know?
What about this one?
That's an
FTX token. Why is it up 16% this week?
I don't know. Nothing makes sense sometimes in our.
Who is buying FTX token? Is Sam in jail right now? Like, buy as much as we possibly can get.
Maybe.
I remember this was at $30 that day of the crash. No, it's sitting at $1.
Let me ask you a question. So we know that like Solana had like tons of volume on it. You know, in the early Q1 this year,
Yeah.
most volume of any chain really. It's this whole year and late last year. Does it continue this bull run? You think?
I mean, I know that
Probably a good question
Ethereum's going to catch up, right? And I think you're seeing stuff like Sui come in. I think once the real bull market hits, you're going to see a lot of people start using Avalanche again, and a lot of the other places. But yeah, yeah, dude, Solana's definitely leading charge with volume. It could continue. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, probably a good question for Jake once we get him up here.
All right, guys. Every Friday at 12:30, we have our great friends over at Emblem Vault joining the show. Emblem Vault, they're building some pretty amazing stuff. Obviously, they have Agent Hustle. Agent Hustle's market value did like a 6x in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. It's been absolutely awesome. But its value, it's bringing to the Solana ecosystem is way more than the market cap, right? It's probably leading the charge in users compared to every other AI-based wallet, and AI-based anything, really. I mean, the way Agent Hustle is doing stuff is absolutely amazing. So we'd love to bring Jake up and kind of jump right into the man, Agent Hustle. What's up, Jake?
What's good, guys? Dude, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I love that today's Friday.
Yeah, me too. Me too, man. I'm actually going out to EDC Las Vegas this weekend.
Nice.
So gonna have some fun and then prepare for Bitcoin Vegas in 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Isn't it at the Sphere this year?
No, it's at Venetian. So the Sphere is a little bit further down by the Wynn.
Gotcha.
But the Venetian is a pretty premier hotel.
And that's what they're doing EDC?
No, EDC is at the Speedway.
Oh, at the Speedway. Okay, gotcha.
Speedway, yeah, it's supposed to be the biggest one this year. It's something I do every year. I have a lot of fun doing it. It's touching grass, I suppose. It's a little bit more like asphalt, but get away from the computer, have a little bit of fun, and then Bitcoin Vegas, man, I'm really excited for it. I have a press pass, so I'll be down there. The whole Emblem team will be at Bitcoin Vegas. I've had a few people in the Ordinal community reach out to me, so if anybody wants to link up, then definitely shoot us a message. There'll be a handful of the Bitcoin related side events.
Nice. Make sure you guys take advantage of that because the Emblem guys are really connected, and that would be a lot of fun for sure. But so obviously, Hustle's been the talk of the town in terms of the space for, I would say, probably the past month, really. What's it been like for you guys to get like a lot of this attention that you're not necessarily like trying to manufacture, you're just getting it, people reach out to you and stuff like that?
The tagline I've been saying is real users, real results. We don't fluff anything. And from that point, I guess from that perspective, a lot of the communities really enjoyed that because the early users feel, like they're building a foundation on something really special. And as the builders, we feel that way as well. I would say the last, maybe 3 weeks or so, the users and attention is really ramped up. Like users is almost daily active users almost doubled, daily active sessions almost doubled, on-chain volumes almost doubled. And I think people are really coming to terms of, a really great product. We recently announced the Launch Lab integration. So Hustle can now find more tokens. That was kind of like our first cohort of users was, I guess you could call them trenchers or traders. It's really just using Agent Hustle to conform strategies because he has a memory. So you can always improve on whatever they are. And then, analyzing tokens, and this is on Solana specifically, and then buying them. And over the last 3 weeks, we've received a new kind of group of users that we've identified, which is the analysts. So we had Trevor King on our show this week, who is an analyst at Asymmetric, which I believe is the top venture capital firm on Solana. Also, Asymmetric has the Bitcoin fund with Dan Held, who operates that one.
I was right on that, Shizzy.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And so, we had him on, and he said it's the best DeFi AI product that they've used. And he uses it as just what he calls a pocket analyst. So he doesn't use Hustle to trade at all. He just uses them to go back and forth on thoughts of different types of news and events and get basic types of summaries. And as of about a week ago, we've privately released the Hustle MCP and SDK to our Hustle dev community. So we're keeping it kind of, loosely invited. We're not publicizing it yet, but if it's something you want to build on, then just shoot me a message and we can add you. And we're seeing, what our earliest adopters can build with them. So we're seeing like Discord messages, Telegram notification services, emails. The Leonidas Rune project was just announced yesterday, which is pretty cool, where it's an agent-to-agent project where they're using their own agent and Agent Hustle. So they're using their own agent as the trading AI, and they're using Agent Hustle as the analyst and signals. And they're going to be trading Dog on Solana using this agent-to-agent communications. So really cool projects are starting to pop up, as well as a handful of, I usually call them DeFi protocols, as well as trading groups and venture capital firms who want to integrate Hustle into their platforms in any type of way. And one kind of final note here is with the MCP for devs, we're aware that Hustle is really great at basically being, an on-chain analyst and trader, but right now he's currently limited to just Solana and maybe a dozen or so different APIs. So we built the MCP to where you can basically bring your own data. So any type of, private APIs, if you're a crypto operator, or if you have, $100,000 subscriptions for things like Bloomberg Terminal, you can basically plug in Hustle to your own system and plug in your own data. So that Hustle then gives you his perspective and thoughts on whatever the data is that you're providing. And that seems to be quite attractive to a lot of individuals and teams, because I'll use Radium, for example, because we just integrated with them. So like, for example, Radium, they're a DEX, they're a Launchpad, they're an LP, right? They're swapped. They have publicly facing APIs. They also have private facing APIs. So somebody, if you're a provider, this could be on Bitcoin or Ethereum or anywhere, you could basically integrate Hustle into your platform, plug in all of your private APIs as well as your public APIs. And then you basically have an on-chain analyst and trader for your own users on your platform. So that's got a lot of attention. And so now we have this like retail and builder side of things, which is starting to really kind of take off.
There's like so much that you can do now. The evolution of Hustle has just come so far from when we were testing it. We were kind of helping you guys test it a little bit, and then where you are today. I'll see on my timeline, like just a random person said, like yesterday, Hustle found this, was it like Vuvo or something like that, like a AI to where you can send Solana payments from Twitter to Twitter name or something, and they're like bragging about it, like, Hustle found this for me, of course, or whatever. Are you seeing more and more of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I actually just posted something on my timeline with the Crazy Crypto. He's Soul Maverick. He's become a pretty good trencher. There's maybe about 5 or so who just like continually post about their trades, and he's finding literally 2x's, 3x's. I think he has the highest so far with an 81x that I've seen so far, where Hustle found something at like 50K and it ended up running to like $8 million or something like that. So he's getting really good. And these guys are obviously, our biggest power players, as well as our key kind of marketers for the trading side of things. And now we're expanding into the dev side to see kind of those projects that can also be our biggest marketers, on the kind of builder side of things.
Yeah, man. For sure. Like that's how you're gonna get wins, right? You're gonna get wins by people posting their wins, right? That's how Hustle's gonna get them mainly the most users at one time. It's obviously, when price goes up on Hustle, you're probably seeing a lot of interest as well. Like, let's just say during this period of the last couple of days, as Hustle's price has really risen a lot. Are you seeing more users come into the platform like during something like this?
Yeah. The most effective marketing is number go up technology. That definitely makes sense. The DeFi AI sector, I think, has actually been the best performing sector since this recent run up has happened. Not just Hustle is up, but a lot of the projects. I think Hustle was like the 3rd best performing in the DeFi AI sector, from a bottom of 700K to I think it tapped like 5 million or so. and getting a lot of buyers and interested parties. With that, also comes like a lot of traders and speculators, which is great for the price, because we do have plans to apply some tokenomics here down the road in different types of ways. Still kind of feeling it all out, but it's interesting. Some of the numbers we've seen is Hustle actually, even though we don't have the Telegram bot live or a specific mobile app, it's about 60-40 in desktop users and mobile users, which is actually kind of really enlightening with the numbers. And he's really worldwide. The heaviest user base is definitely the US, and the stats show it on chain, as well as kind of the backend metrics for tracking who visits the website. But I think this is only going to continue to grow. DeFi AI is, to me, the next, big meta. This is why we decided to basically triple down on the whole idea of it. And you see some other larger projects like Hayanon is also gaining a lot of traction. They're probably the leader in the market. They have the most eyeballs. They have a big founder, huge team, and a lot of popular accounts are also tweeting them. And they're going in this kind of path of creating a wallet extension as like a TA kind of overlay. But we have our own solid user base of averaging about 200 daily active users a day, about 400 sessions, and each session is averaging, I think it's 16 minutes at this point in time. So you're saying about 100 hours a day are being spent on Agent Hustle currently.
Wow, it's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of trenchers, dude.
Well, speaking of that, do you think being on Solana is an advantage for you guys? Because right now, I think Anon is mainly on. I know they're on Sonic. I know they're on like ETH-based EVM platforms. Do you know if they're on Solana? And if not, do you think that's such a big thing for you guys?
It's actually a very good question. And on our media side of things for Emblem, we've had a handful of DeFi AI founders, as well as on the live stream, we've had traders and such. And from the builder side of things, I think launching on Solana, there was literally only one other competitor, which is Griffin. And both of our products are kind of attacking the same idea, but going about it in different types of ways. And what I've learned is that building on Solana is significantly more difficult than it is on EVM. EVM, it's pretty much plug and play. A lot of the tooling already exists. On Solana, the tooling is very limited. So you actually have to build a custom amount of things. And also the architecture of blockchain is very different from EVM. So for us, I think it gives us a huge advantage. Also, just because the user base of Solana is much larger than on Base, seems to be where kind of everyone else is launching. There's more agents on Solana. There's more volume on Solana. There's more attention on Solana. For us, it was like a no-brainer that this is going to be the direction that we wanted to build. Also, from the Emblem side of things, we'd been building on Bitcoin for 8 years and Ethereum for 5 years. And so taking on this kind of new venture was really challenging, but it was the right direction because we kind of have an experience on what to look for when you're entering a new ecosystem. And for Hayanon, they are basically EVM. They have this you can bridge to Solana and swap, but there isn't any kind of advanced features. And with some of the issues with some of the other projects that we've seen and why users love Hustle is because he's personalized and humanized, where he gives you responses and you could be kind of general with the questions. Because if you're a new user, you don't really know what to do, so you kind of have to play around with them to kind of figure out where your edge is, where a lot of the other competitors in the space, you have to be very hyper specific with the requests. You have to put the blockchain that you want to bridge to, the amount, you have to put the contract address. And we felt like for the average user, first, no one's going to do that because it's going to take forever. And then if you're just not familiar with the ecosystem, how are you going to know, what blockchain or, what apps to interact with or what blockchains to bridge things to? And so with Solana, looking back, retrospectively, from 2 months ago, it was the right decision without a doubt. And there's still, to this day, I think it's still just us and Griffin who are the only sole Solana DeFi AI projects that have anything more than just a bridge and a swap.
Yeah, and Solana actually kind of, for the three main chains, kind of solidifies that full circle of tech stacks, right? Obviously, there's new emerging ones or some that are growing, but at least with Emblem's approach on being this interoperability kind of tooling and protocol, it makes sense for you guys to shore that side up. I'm curious if you guys are still seeing like really strong volume on Solana. Do you think that continues? Because like we saw like that be really aggressive in Q4 of last year. It's been the highest volume chain this year of 2025. With this new run up, are you still seeing that aggressive approach, or has it changed a little bit?
No, it's only continuing. A few days ago, we had our all-time high. I think it was maybe on Wednesday or Tuesday. We had an all-time high daily active users of 250. And we also had a daily all-time high of sessions, which was close to 400. And also our single record of on-chain volume of the platform, which was around 18,000 or so. And we're seeing as more users come on, the volume increases pretty high, as well as the sessions do. And it's just simply, there's just more users on Solana. This is nothing to like, be combative of the other projects who are focusing on Base, but Base is still kind of a small ecosystem, which doesn't have this like free floating user base. Like the individuals on Base are generally Coinbase users, but it's not even that much. And there's also still some speculators. There's not like the diehard believers that you see on Solana, who went through the pain of, going down with Solana to $8 all the way up to the highs. And it's just worldwide now. And it's just being adopted by so many different angles that it's the future. For us, it's kind of the future of where AI is going to be. Of course, AI is going to be eventually spread to all these different chains, but I do think like Solana at this point in time is probably going to be the hub for AI. And so for us, it's like you want to start with the hardest thing first and then continue to expand, which is why we would like to get into Bitcoin next. Because I still have this firm belief that it really can revolutionize the trading of what's happening on Bitcoin. And also, I think we're the only team in the DeFi sector who has any experience with the Bitcoin ecosystem and an existing user base of, Bitcoin native asset users.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said earlier. You said you're MPC and SDK, right? And you're trying to build this kind of builder ecosystem a bit. Is that an open invitation to kind of at least start a conversation for applications? For example, like that one I talked about, Vuvo or whatever, you can send Solana I can send from Yagobiverse to Shizzy Sats, and it creates like a wallet address. Is that like, you guys looking for builders like that to kind of be like plugins to your mainframe or your framework, or could you maybe expand on that a little bit?
We're really open to any type of builders. So with the Hustle MCP, there's kind of two areas to it. So you can either plug in Hustle purely as like an AI chatbot and analysis, or you can use our SDK and basically plug in everything that you see on agenthustle.ai. So with the MCP, as I kind of mentioned before, if you're a trading group, you're probably just looking for signals. If you're a DeFi protocol that already has infrastructure, for wallets and trading and stuff, you're probably just going to want him as an analysis chatbot. But there's other, AI platforms that have hit us up that don't have any wallet infrastructure and they just have an AI. So they would want to use our SDK to basically plug in Hustle, white label him. You get the whole Emblem Vault technology with the wallets or the multi-chain wallets. And you can also get the swaps and the LPs and the launch labs and the pump funds and all that stuff that really comes with it. So there's kind of a variety of different users, especially because some of these different projects are on Base, or you have some projects on Solana that have this like trading terminal type experience, but they don't have any of the DeFi capabilities. So it's really a wide variety right now. Again, from like small groups to very large kind of teams who are building all kinds of different projects. What's the winning use case going to be? Really, really uncertain at this point in time. I think probably honestly just plugging Hustle into if you're a protocol operator, just plugging him in and white labeling him, and then plugging in your private API data is probably the best play right now,
Yeah.
I would say. But if you're somebody who's, just a beginner and you want to build out your own DeFi AI platform, you can literally just take all of the tooling that we have and you'll probably be ahead of, 90% of the projects out there, because still to this day, Griffin and us are the only ones that are just sole DeFi AI projects that have anything more than just a bridge and a swap.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the biggest things though, like in the crypto space, and this, you have a lot of experience in this space, is building community, right? And from like a product suite like what Hustle is, I feel like it's like so much utility. So it screams like, oh man, long-term play here. How do you build community, like the people that are diehards for Hustle? Because like I feel like that is something that could definitely help bring awareness as well.
It is actually pretty tough. Where Agent Hustle. So actually, let me get started. So when we launched on Pump Fund, there's kind of two sides to this, and we're kind of learning the downside of this later. But when you launch on Pump Fund, you kind of get this like pre-built community that comes in with it, right? Because you get the speculators who are going to buy it, and the price pumps, and then when it kind of leaves, or when the sell off happens, Intense Tensorium went from 18 million to 700,000, right? So you have like a 97% correction, something of that nature. You still get 5 to 10% of those holders are still around, kind of looking around. Some want the price to go up, some's actually interested in the technology, and you just have to be there every day. Being a public facing founder, CEO, team member, and really kind of just talking with them and going through understanding their emotions, understanding what the users want. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, everyone on the Emblem team is working 16, 20-hour days. Really, like the only time we're not working is, really when we're sleeping, to be honest. And you just have to be active. The downside of some of these projects that you see is, the founder, the CEO, whoever the leading face is really kind of detached from the community. They're not in the Telegram talking with them, understanding their issues. Like I get it. Even if you're busy, it's hard to, sit and answer some of the typical, how do I do this projects, or the people yelling at you. But that's really how you build community, is sitting there and, being front facing, being available, and allowing users to, really understand where the head's at. It's really tough. And, I think I built a lot of patience just growing up in Vegas and working, in the day club and nightlife industry for 10 years. You have to put a lot of patience up with drunk individuals and degens. So I've really kind of been around. I've really been around the space, pretty much my whole life. So kind of have a skill there in terms of understanding how to be patient from a customer service standpoint. And from the token, right now that it's kind of on its ascension back up, we're going to get a new cohort of users, right, from the trader side. And then we're also going to get a new cohort of people from the developer and builder side. And there's no, straightforward way to go about it. But I think the best way to build a community as a builder is literally just be in the Discord and Telegram with them and just really hear it out. Like, I think it's really as simple as that. Granted, you're going to feel frustrated a lot because, half the things that they say is not going to be very nice, but you really have to kind of, get to the thick of what the anger or frustration is, or even what the compliments are, and try to build, a strategy around that. Like, your power users are the people you should be building for. And this is why we put such an emphasis on being authentic and transparent, and not saying, we have 200,000 wallets created, or not mislabeling and saying 200,000 wallets created means, 200,000 active users. Like, I think that's, disingenuous. And it kind of really is a slap in the face to the early users and adopters who are there kind of, there from the beginning. So for us, we say we have 200 daily active users. I still think that's probably either the top or probably the top 3 in terms of actual users using the product and not just speculating on the token. And the community feels, very grateful that they're included in that. And we would like to do rewards and different things like that for them in the future once the project continues to grow. And then also they then help out the new users who come in the second cohort when the price continues to go up or when the next wave of users come.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really interested in the data of hustle. I have a couple questions there. My first question is: are your power users your power holders? Are your whales you kind of using that same wallet to use hustle?
You know, I would say mostly no,
Okay.
but there is a crossover, and this is also gets into kind of the strategy of things. And Adam and I talk about this on the show a lot. We faced this issue with Emblem when I joined the team, where the holders of Koval were not the users of Emblem, and it creates this misaligned incentive system, right? Where you just get the people who just speculate and they're loud in the Discord about wanting the token price to go up, and then also in the Discord or Telegram, you have the users who are just like love the product and continue to use it, and it creates this confliction of misaligned incentives. And we actually found this out when we announced the Koval migration to keys, to where the Koval holders actually had to use Emblem Vault, to migrate. And it was also kind of a test for us to see. And we found out the large majority of Koval holders had never used Emblem before, right? And you see this happening in different types of ecosystems, where if you put too much emphasis on the farming of the token, then the token becomes the whole product and not the actual, project itself.
Yeah.
So we try to keep that in mind a lot, where the whales of the holder, or the whales of Tensorium, there's like a whale chat, so I kind of know who they are. They use hustle, but I wouldn't say they're like the power users. Like, they're using them because AI is a little bit easier to use than an NFT bridge and an Emblem Vault, and it's a little bit more personable. But I don't think they're sitting there actively trading, because they're a big holder of the token themselves, right? So they're kind of like, hey, if I just use the product and I talk about it, I don't need to sit there and trade, because if the product grows, then the token's going to grow. And if there's more use cases, right, then obviously the token price kind of will go up, or value will accrue to it.
Yeah.
So I think the balance right now is pretty good. We have had to put a handful of holders kind of in place, where I've had to basically say, you're kind of a drag on the community, just continuing to talk about price in the chat, because continue talking about price, you could kind of see the frustration from people, and it really kind of spreads a bad message. Although, right, everybody wants the number to go up, so do we, but it kind of overshadows the people in the chat who are really just trying to actively use the product and the platform at all. So we're aware of it, and kind of where we are today with the token holders and the whales is that our first our first focus is getting more users on the platform, right? I had to basically drill this into the Koval holders' minds that the Emblem Vault came first over Koval. And it's the same situation here, where agent hustle and users come first before the tokens. If you don't have a strong user base, then the token doesn't really matter, right? And then the token becomes the product, and that's not what we want, right? We want to build the best DeFi AI product, where agent hustle becomes the router of the system, and everyone's using agent hustle, whether it's built into your DeFi platform or whether you're using them to trade or to be an analyst or whatever the future use cases come. And so, we are on that way. Like, what we're working on right now is ways to effectively add more users and create more volume and metrics, right? Which has an impact on the token. So like we're working on basically a one-click login, where you can basically sign in with Twitter, sign in with Apple, sign in with Google. One click, the vault's created, and then the directives are actually going to be optional. So one click, sign in with Twitter, you're on the platform, you can do whatever you want, right? So that'll bring the users up. And then we're also working on the automated trading system right now, which is like kind of half built, still a little bit of R&D that's needed, but we do have some solutions, which then that keeps the actual traders on the platform, right? Because we kind of had, there is this ongoing issue, and builders would never actually admit this, but I have no problem saying it. But there's people who are using Hustle to analyze information and then trading off the platform, right? And so that's kind of a situation of lost revenue, But automated trading actually keeps them on the platform, right? Because if Hustle is finding a token, buying and selling on the platform, there's no way for you to actually leave, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be a big use case too.
Yeah. And so when users are trading on the platform, right, then the volume numbers are going up, more users are coming. And when that happens, there's more people talking about it, which then means the token value goes up.
Yeah.
And then at that point in time, that's when you then add tokenomics to then get people encouraged. Like adding tokenomics at a $5 million market cap, I don't think is very effective. Adding tokenomics at a $50 million market cap or $100 million market cap, much more effective, because there's much more speculation that goes into, driving the transaction volume of the token.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out real quick to Crypto Solution. $5 super chat says GM, Shizzy, Yagobi, and Jake. Dog go to the moon. I know that's a little off topic, but gotta put the respect on. And Vincent, I believe he's a huge part of the dog community in the super chat there. But we also have Chris Dev says send it, bro.
Hey.
From the Emblem team there. But continue on.
Yeah, well, it's cool that Cryptolution is here. I was trying to get his attention to kind of look at the Leonidas rune thing. It's interesting because this builder, he's actually been a day one Hustle user, not as much of like a token holder, but an actual dev. And he told us about this idea literally before V2 was even live. Like when it was just Agent Hustle, the AI, he was like, hey, when can I get, agent to agent communication so he can work with my agent to basically trade dog on Solana. And it was around like when dog on Solana went live. I forget when that actually was. And now he's actually, and so he announced the project yesterday because we got the MCP working to be a little bit more frictionless. We got worked out some of the bugs. And now we're going to see in action what he can do. He has a trading agent. We have basically a signals and analyst agent. He's going to combine them together to trade dog on Solana, whatever that means, whether it's like LP strategies or farming or market making or anything like that. Those are the kind of like cool use cases. And those are, valuable community members where at some point we're going to have to charge, for basically AI credits from the dev side of things. But what you want to do is your early adopters, you basically want to give them a head start to everyone, right? Right now it's free. We're keeping it private. All the people who are really interested can use it for free right now. We'll give them a month or two head start of free credits before something pops off. And then at that point in time, there's going to be a payment kind of system, probably similar to like how you get charged for AI credits, on Anthropic or ChatGPT or whatever. But that at that point in time, they'll have, a month or two head start before everyone else. And so that's how you build community, is being sure to, value these early adopters who kind of sat around and waited. I think it was just from the experience of Emblem Vault being around for 6 years at the point when I joined, and just understanding, the sentiment and frustrations and successes of those long-term community members. Like when there's somebody in the Emblem ecosystem who's been around since 2014, since Shannon literally first started the project, as when he took over Ribbit Rewards as a travel blockchain, and stuck around this whole time. And so really just having conversations with those people of understanding, what they believe in, why they stuck around and things like that will really kind of help you build a successful community.
Yeah, man, 100%. And like kind of going back to what you're saying about some people are in the chat talking about price. It's kind of like on board, bro. Like if you want the price to go up, call everyone and get them to open a wallet with Hustle. Like honestly though, it's like you need to be our best marketer. If you want the price to go up, stop bitching in here about the price and go on board 3 people today, and then have those 3 people on board a couple more people, right? So it's kind of like it's your incentive is new users. So that's actually pretty easy for Emblem to just kind of just be like, hey, you want number go up, on board. Let's get 400 users, 500 users, 600 users.
And I think the opportunity is actually bigger this round. I know you guys did you hit a milestone of $100 million in value, bridging, from counterparty to EVM. But with where we are with this sector and how far you guys have developed, and now you're getting the attention of, some of these VCs are, reaching out, just talking to you guys. That upside will eventually take care of the price if you fulfill it, which you guys have been doing that without getting the attention. So why would you not just like double, triple down after you get the attention or assist or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, it's interesting because last year we talked to a few dozen VCs trying to raise for Emblem, and they weren't really interested because it was a product that had existed for a while, right? There's numbers, they could put kind of a market value on it. The token was launched already. This time around, right, we launched the token on pump funds, so the whole supply is distributed. But the AI sector is so attractive that we have had a handful of people reach out about using Hustle, acquiring tokens, wanting to know more about the future. And I think just this idea of being, the chat GPT of crypto is really attractive. And that market cap is, I think, so high that all of the big players right now can be significant players in the future. This is why I have no problem covering other projects and engaging with, other builders in the space. Because if you work together, right, agent to agent projects like the Leonidas Rune, for example, that is not a 1 + 1 = 2 situation. That's like a 1 + 1 = 3, because you're putting two agents together and you're also getting the attention of the builders and the agents on the timeline. So it has this like second and third order kind of effects from the attention standpoint. And I just wish a lot of other builders would really kind of understand that, because there's no reason to be tribalistic or territorial in this space. If you're a trader, I understand that for liquidity, but if you're a builder, dude, and you're just kind of trying to protect your portion of the pie, you should always focus on growing it, because it can always be much bigger.
Especially where we are. Go ahead.
Attention from other agents on the timeline. I don't think I'm ready for that type of saying it. But that sounds wild to say it out loud. Attention from other agents.
Well, they're not sentient yet, but they can pick up trends, right? And that's how they catch you.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even turned Agent Hustle on, right, for automation. Like, this is just us basically taking the conversation, feeding Hustle, a question, he's giving us a response, and we're basically just pasting the response on Twitter. So it is him tweeting, it's just not, automated. And so once that situation happens with Hustle, we have a ton of ideas on, how to do agent to agent collaborations and conversations. And you basically just you just put different types of keywords or different types of things, and these agents will kind of respond. I think once that happens, to me, probably end of this year or next year, possibly, once that becomes something that's like kind of a hot topic or a hot trend, I think that's when it gets kind of crazy, because at that point, there's a lot of theatrics you could do. I would say, look at BankerBot on Base. They're kind of like the leader in these like social-fi or social-fi AI kind of trends, minting NFTs on Twitter, trading on Twitter. It's, the new things that they unlock become novelties, but they're all things that we can funnel into Agent Hustle and kind of combine. And so they're also like a really good project that I admire, and they do a really good job. The issue, again, it goes back to like they started on Base. They do have like a lot of cool features that they could plug in, but the user base is so small. Like if that project was on Solana and they started doing it on Solana, it would probably be the top AI project right now. Like it has so much mind share.
Wow.
But it's just it's isolated to Base. But also too, if they started on Solana, they probably wouldn't have all the tooling that they have today, because Base is just building with Solidity and EVM is just so much easier because it's been around for so much longer. So the tooling just exists. So, you have these different types of trade-offs, but, it's really cool to see. And, it's really exciting that AI is starting to take a little bit more notice across the industry. And there's a wide variety of tooling. And, as we work today, Agent Hustle will be kind of front and center, no matter if its market cap is 700,000 or 700 million. Like, I think we're still going to put the same effort in today as we did yesterday.
Wow.
Amen.
Yeah. A lot.
Amen.
A lot. Amen. Amen.
No. All right. let's talk about the users again. So, as new users come on board, I'm just really curious, their habits, right? A new user comes on board, they talk to Hustle for the first time. Are they immediately making trades, or are you seeing it potentially in the second, third, fourth time around? And that's when they make their first trade.
It seems to be more conversational at first. Actually, kind of a statistic was when we went to build Hustle, you kind of had this initial idea that the majority of the use of him is going to be trading. So you think about, oh, if I onboard, 1,000 users and they're trading $1,000 a day, then I can make this type of revenue, and you could start to project. What really ends up happening is that the users sit there and 9 of 10 prompts are generally just conversational, and then one of them is actual executions. And so your costs end up rising pretty high comparative to what you think the on-chain volume that would kind of measure it out in a sense. And that's something for the builders to figure out. It's not something that the users should figure out. And I encourage them to sit there and just talk with him. Everyone on the Emblem team, when somebody comes in and says, hey, I have this issue with Hustle, we just say, ask them what the issue is. Like, it's literally that simple. And what it does is it actually familiarizes them with this idea that the agent Hustle is literally an all-in-one box. He's your analyst, he's your tech support, he's your on-chain executor, right? He does kind of all of this stuff. And it was one of the reasons why we put the directives in initially, these like 6 clicks of pre-generated prompts that do different types of on-chain transactions, is that we wanted the early adopters to be real users. We didn't want these like vanity metrics and people to just spam the chain or whatever to create these fake numbers so that they hope the token price goes up. We were like, we want these people to put in, 5 minutes of effort to tell us, what the market data is and what the market wants. And initially we found that trading was the first use case. And then now the analyst is becoming kind of the second use case. But what we've come to find out is that much more people are just sitting there and creating strategies and doing conversational things, and it is actually on-chain executions. And I think that's completely fine, because that's what makes the product sticky. That's what makes the average session time 16 minutes. If yesterday or 2 days ago, 100 hours was spent on Agent Hustle of users just sitting there and talking with them, right? And that's what you want, because with 200 users a day, doing 100 hours, you expand that to 2,000 users, and now all of a sudden, right, you have 1,000 hours, and then 10,000 hours, and then all of a sudden, you kind of have this kind of breakaway speed. So sit there and talk with them. I suggest just literal conversation. You don't even have to talk with them to crypto. You could talk to them about kind of anything. We have all these other tools that will be added, over the next few months that will encourage conversation and not just on-chain executions.
Just don't say thank you and please and all those.
It actually costs a lot more money. Yeah,
I know.
Surprisingly.
It costs more money to be nice to AI. That's funny.
It costs more money, but then when the AI takes over, right, then you're probably saved because you were nice to them.
Exactly.
Man.
That's awesome. I know we haven't really gotten into Emblem, the vault side, but we can maybe save that for next Friday, or maybe if you have a quick update or anything, we could get into that. It's up to you.
Sure.
But we're getting close to that hour.
Sure.
But maybe a quick update on your side from the vaulting side.
Yeah. So our dev team I would say they've came across a puzzle between merging the vintage system with kind of this new system. So it's taken us a few extra weeks to get the whole V2 system live, but it does seem like they have like a whole architecture plan, and we have multiple devs now kind of working on it. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll have it live where we'll be on base moving. I think now it's like 4 different e-scription collections there. We're supposed to put Taproot Wizards on ETH for a lending protocol that wants them. We're kind of building NFT gamification, cross-chain gamification platform in the background that hopefully should kind of encourage all of the cross-chain NFT activity, as well as we'll have a full Emblem SDK here soon, so you can basically build on top of Emblem, whatever you want. We've had people in the past who've built Televault, right, which is like a fungible token bridge for UTXO assets. We've had people say that they wanted to build like a Bitcoin layer 2 on top of Emblem. You could do all kinds of different things with it. And so we're going to continue to build that out and eventually kind of merge Agent Hustle and Emblem. That's maybe a few quarters kind of away, but seeing Agent Hustle on the Emblem site would be great, to help people, bridge and do different types of interoperability stuff. And so Emblem's still there. I don't post about it as much, but once that is live, you'll definitely see the whole Emblem team and the Emblem account start to post more about V2 or Emblem 2.0 and everything that kind of comes with that. That's really exciting. Starting with base, we are building on Solana in the background as well, so you could take your ordinals and everything over to Solana. What's the big breakout use case going to be? Still kind of unsure there, but we do have a handful of partners and chains that we're going to be working with who are interested in bringing ordinals over to their community, which actually kind of coincides pretty well with this chain abstracted world that the Bitcoin native ecosystem is starting to move into, and use off-chain technologies or different L2s to kind of satisfy the different necessities of these different communities. And it's going to be an exciting time, man, once that does happen. It's been Emblem 2.0 literally in July would be 2 years in the making for it. So it's taken us a little bit of time to build it, but it's a industry changing technology, possibly world changing in my opinion. So just good things take time.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious, like how that's going to work. Do you think right now, if I want to use Hustle, I have to send Solana to my Hustle wallet. I can still send out of there, no problem. Will I have to send? Let's just say I have a Puppet. Do I have to send my Puppet to my Hustle Bitcoin wallet, and then he can potentially put that in a vault for me?
Yeah, so we will integrate Emblem into Agent Hustle. Also, vice versa, we'd like to put Agent Hustle as a chatbot on Emblem.vision, to where he can give you suggestions on, what chain to bridge to or what chain to bridge to, because there's different liquidity here. So we would like to commingle those and make those both interoperable as well. Because what Emblem Vault kind of really is, at the end of the day, it's becoming a vertically integrated interoperability tech stack for AI and NFTs, eventually for fungible tokens, and then for kind of cross-chain applications as well, kind of speaking into the future. And then we also have keys, or the Emblem Vault token that's going to TGE the first part of it in September. So we should have 50% of the supply distributed by the end of the year. And then we'll have a point system for users to kind of participate in as well, to kind of move their assets around and have a really good time for keys, which I think is going to be quite large, because it won't be the token of Agent Hustle. Agent Hustle has kind of grown to be its own community. But it will be the protocol token for Emblem, as well as any other cross-chain applications that we do build.
Exciting stuff. I can't wait to, once everything's under one roof there, because that's what it seems like it's going to be. Even six to maybe 9 months down the road, I think things are going to look really nice and be all available to all the users. But Jake, it's been amazing. Appreciate you spending time with our community and the broader audience that we had today. Everything's starting to come together, like whether it's Solana, Bitcoin, even Cardano, some of these other places, like our audience is like crypto starting to merge together. That's what Emblem's about, though, is the interoperability and multi-chain. So appreciate it. But I'd like to give you some final words to the audience of what to look out for.
Just use Agent Hustle. Go to agenthustle.ai or Agent Hustle AI Twitter account. Give them a follow. Use them. Save yourself, from falling behind with this AI intersection of crypto. It's the intelligence cycle I've been calling for the last 6 months. It is definitely going to be the next cycle. I think we're still in the kind of later stages of the attention cycle. So, maybe end of this year or next year at some point, there's going to be a lot more AI products out there, and you would just be doing yourself a favor of just at least trying them out. If you support us, then use Agent Hustle and, find some games, use them as an analyst, figure out where your edge is, because at the end of the day, using AI to find tokens is going to save you hours of time than sitting and going back and forth between Telegram, Deck Screener, Photon, whatever these kind of all these like 1.0 tooling is. Use the AI 2.0 tooling, and it'll save you literally hours and give you a lot more gains. So any questions, reach out to me or anybody from the Emblem team, and we're happy to guide you your way.
Awesome. Well, Jake, thanks again, and have a great weekend. We will see you next week.
Yes, sir. Take care, guys.
See you, Jake. Absolutely awesome as always, man. 584 people in here right now. Appreciate every single one of you guys, man. It's been a long week. Yeah, I'm ready to end this session. Let's get it.
Yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you guys, man, and everybody that stayed and hung out in the chat as well, and Vincent and Cryptolution, thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, if you could check out our partners, we'd greatly appreciate it, guys. Sats Terminal is doing huge things with being a DEX aggregator for the Bitcoin ecosystem, specifically with swapping runes. You're going to find the most liquid and best pricing with Sats Terminal. You can also earn Amber points as well. And they do have, I believe, are we allowed to talk about that new version? Maybe not.
I think the new version is live. Hold on, let me check real quick.
No, it's coming. I think that's what it is. But yeah, if you head over to Sats Terminal,
no, it's live.
It is? Okay, cool. Yeah. If you head over to satsterminal.com, you can actually see your rewards. You can connect your wallet there and start earning Amber points, guys. Yeah, you're going to find the cheapest prices because they are the aggregator decks, right? So exciting stuff from them. They're going to have a lot of stuff coming in the future as well. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They utilize ICP and Bitcoin tech for you guys to place bets in their marketplace. You can place bets in their Blitz markets, which is a 10-minute market to where you can pick up or down for Bitcoin, Solana, or BNB. You get 10 minutes to lock that price in and 10 minutes to wait to see if you were right or wrong there. There's going to be additional features like create your own markets where you can earn 1.5% of the total volume, as well as refer a friend that you can earn 1% of the total transaction that they do as well. So exciting stuff to kind of create your own path to success there. Visit betbtc.win to learn more there. And then EmblemBot, we just talked to Jake for about an hour there about what they have been bringing with Agent Hustle. Exciting stuff. Head over to Agent Hustle. You can try it out right now, at least before they have it gated, or you might have to pay for it in the future. But right now you can utilize it to see how it can assist you in the trenches, whether that's data analysis or basically actually making the transactions for you, right? So exciting stuff with Hustle coming in the future. If you're a builder and you have some sort of AI type of product, you can plug into their framework. So reach out to Jake and get the conversation started. Why not? It doesn't hurt. And then on the Emblem side, you will be able to jump your ordinals from Bitcoin to other environments, as Jake said, Abstract, Base, eventually Solana as well. And don't forget that you have a Bitcoin Rune TGE coming in September. If you head over to emblem.vision, you can learn all about that. And then Artura Finance is the perps and leverage decks of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin runes and BRC20s as well, I believe, but Doggo to the Moon, $1 billion cat, and popular tokens like XRP and Tau as well. They're going to be launching any day on Hemi, Bitcoin Layer 2, Mainnet, which is backed by Binance Labs, as well as Botonics, the spider chain, which is also another Bitcoin Layer 2. If you head over to artura.finance, you can really dive in and see how you can get connected there. Head over to their Discord, ask as many questions as you need. They have a team waiting for you guys over there. And then our partner Fluid, which started on Cardano and continued on to Bitcoin, but still building on Cardano. They had their Aquarium release. We went over that in today's segment. So if you didn't see that, rewind it and go and watch that, because very, very interesting ways for you guys to earn Babel fees and to be really taking advantage of those opportunities with their Aquarium platform. They also allow you to stake on Bitcoin Layer 1. So if you have a project in ordinals or you etched a rune with an established community, head over to their Discord. They will get you guys set up for a staking vault for your community. If you head over to fluidtokens.com, you can dive right in, see how to get connected, see how to get a staking vault set up for your community there. And then Tokeo Wallet, the guys have been really just educating every day along our side with the Bitcoin Blitz. We will continue this in about 40 minutes with a space that finishes it off for the week. It's been crazy, guys, but they started on Cardano as well and doing big things on Bitcoin. And they wanted to, show you guys that they're here for education, right? And so that's what that's all about. But if you go download the wallet and you either download it on the Apple App Store or Google Play, depending on what phone you have. Take a screenshot of that, put it in today's live stream. You will be in a raffle to win billion dollar cat tokens. We'll do the raffle early in the morning and announce that on our Twitter account. But yeah, it's really awesome app, guys. And give us feedback for them as well. If you head over to Tokeo.io, you can learn how to get that download going. And then Merlin Chain, uniting Bitcoin strength with the power of AI. They have integrated their Wizard 0.3, which is an AI that will guide you all through the Merlin Chain ecosystem. And so you definitely want to take advantage of that. And then also their proof of stake, if you want to be a part of that, you can stake your Merlin Chain tokens and earn 15% APR, guys. Big projects coming to Merlin Chain. Head over to merlinchain.io to learn about that chain and what they are doing in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And lastly, our integrated partners in Foxy AI and Ordinal Hive. Foxy AI building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and the first-person shooter game that we live stream every Tuesday at 3 p.m. called Cypher Striker. And then Ordinal Hive is an aggregator ordinal marketplace that you're going to find the cheapest ordinals around. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this long, 3 hours and 23 minutes. We appreciate you.
But wait, there's more. If you guys won't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io. Some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. Definitely check those out, guys. VPN, use Nord, my favorite. Use our link there, guys. Don't be going to these websites without a VPN on. And I tried to use Yalo earlier, and I forgot my VPN was off. Definitely a reminder to put your VPN on, especially when sites do not let you use their product, because you should. We have freedom here in the US. We should be able to use any product. Bitcoin at 2025, Las Vegas. Definitely, if you guys need tickets, use our link there. They're getting really expensive, guys. So if you haven't got them yet, I feel sorry for you, but definitely use our link if you do buy them. If you guys are going to the event and you guys need merch, check out our store tab. We have some of the best merch in all of crypto, guys. Check it all out here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until Monday.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.